You can start it off, Drew. Just say whatever you want, bro.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homies Ricky podcast. Um, so we are talking about Bivol and why he lost all momentum towards those two Russians, towards Beterbiev. Um, what's it called? Man, you the one that actually started all these subjects, and I was like, I'm actually gonna just go off of the top. So in reality, like Bivol and Beterbiev, this fight is a fight that I really want to happen. It's not really looking like realistic, really. Not this year, at least. Bob Arum, he actually says that he's not going to actually make it happen. Anything to do with like Russia or anything like that, he doesn't want to support it, and that's kind of based off of Mauricio Suleiman's decision not to sanction any fights uh, for the WBC to sanction any fights for Russia for Russians. So Beterbiev is Canadian, but he's had a visa for 14 years, but Bob Arum doesn't care. He's like if my gun is black, I don't like it. He's like yeah, he's like, well, what? He's Russian though, so we still ain't gonna sanction that. So um, yeah, bro. Fucking this shit's not gonna happen this year. It's not looking that way. Beterbiev actually still has to go through what's his name? Smith, the youngest one. What's his name? Misha, the one that got beat up pretty bad by Canelo. He has
Oh,
a fight
Callum
coming up.
Smith.
Callum Smith.
Yeah,
There we
Callum
go.
Smith.
Yeah, he has a fight with him coming up, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually gonna put a little some on Callum Smith, because of his style. Um, Beterbiev's really old, not really old. He's 38. Call it what you want, but he's looking good for a 38-year-old. I think he's slowing down. I'm not sure it's because of the cuts that have been happening over the eyes and stuff, like in his recent fights or anything like that. But maybe that has a factor in it. But he also has 300 over 300 amateur fights, which is pretty crazy. That's really fucking that's a lot of mileage on him. Um, so he actually started at a late age on top of that, but he's always boxed at a high level, you know, and he's only getting old, man. And there's something that catches up to you, and that's father time, and something that's in favor of Bivol is actually, the youthfulness that he has, what is he like? I think he's my age. He's like 29, 30. But he's in his prime right now, so yeah, this fight, this is like my number one fight that I want to make happen because I like when boxing is in order. I like when fight dudes are supposed to be fighting each other and they fight. I want all the belts gathered to one dude. Like I like what the lighter weights are doing. They're unifying all these belts, maybe to the wrong guys. Because I feel like certain undisputed champs are beatable. Um, but yeah, it's really hard to get undisputed, man. And sometimes it's not any of the fighters' faults, really. It has to do with this whole Russia conflict, And yeah, man, I want this to happen. Uh, I actually think if they do fight, I think Bivol will stop him, dude. I think he'll stop him because of all those cuts. His style is good enough to main or his durability is good enough, I think, to actually take his punches. If he can take Canelo's punches, and he could take fucking Beterbiev's punches, and yeah, man, Beterbieve is dog, but he's kind of flat-footed, old. Um, it's youth is on Bivol's side, and Yeah, bro. Bivol, I mean, he's actually like in his prime right now. I'm a fan of him. I'm just not a fan of his decisions, really, because of his, he's turning down Canelo. I personally think he beats Canelo again. You know, 60 and 68. So it's like, why are you fucking turning this dude down? You know, like you got this, bro. You'll get him, bro, at 160 and 68. So, um, and he's like, I think in reality he's kind of losing traction as far as the hype. He's gonna get it back if he makes that Beterbiev fight happen. Um, his name will pop up a lot more. But ever since he's turning that fight down, he's not really getting too much publicity. Um, maybe he doesn't care though. Maybe he doesn't care about all that attention. Maybe he's like, really like focused. Maybe he's waiting it out. Waiting to see what happens with this Russian conflict. So as a world champ, he's good. You make good money as a world champion. Um, maybe not generational wealth, that everyone wants, but maybe he has a different mentality. Different country. Maybe they just built differently out there. Maybe he's making un-American like decisions. And he just going for legacy. Really, he wants all those belts, but it's like what. Why are you trying to go this direction when you had this whole Russian conflict going on and there's nothing you can do about it, So that's what I'm talking about when he's not making the right decisions. Like he's just really prideful or something. I don't know, man. Like this dude just does not, care or think like an American. Because I'd be going for all the money, bro. Like big money fights. I'm trying to change my family's life, So, um, yeah, bro. That's that with Bivol and Beterbiev. Um, so yeah, Beterbiev actually knocked out Anthony Yarde in the 8th round, his last fight, and dude, Yarde was getting some rounds on him. I think Yarde was like winning that fight, but um, it's he just needed some durability, and I think that's exactly what Bivol has. And yeah, bro, Beterbiev is on the downtrend in my opinion. Uh, all that power, could only do so much, but I feel like Bivol has a better arsenal, better combinations. He's like stylistically, like he's fit to beat Beterbiev, Just sucks, man, with this whole Russian conflict, man. Um, yeah, so what do you think, bro?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is, I want to see this fight as much as anybody else, but I feel like the powers that be, specifically more Bob Arum, because Matchroom and Bivol and everybody on the zone, they're all for making fights. But Bob Arum is really being a little bitch, honestly.
Yeah,
And
really.
he wants to hide Beterbiev from Bivol. Now,
Yep.
if
That's another. Yep.
if they were to fight, I honestly got Artur winning that fight.
Wow.
I think he'll beat Bivol. I think he'll catch him. At first I was skeptical, but when I saw Beterbiev's ability to circle around against Joe Smith, and even to dig, because I haven't really seen him dig,
Mm-mm.
right? I saw that Callum Johnson fight when he got dropped, and he was able to overcome that. And I've just seen more of him that I didn't see in the past. In the past, I've had Bivol watching him. I was like, nah, this guy's just a heavy hitter. He's got big ass knuckles. He's conditioned, but he ain't really been through the ringer. He ain't really have a lot of experience in terms of the pro circuit. I know that he got headbutted by Marcus Brown, and then he turned it up. But he was kind of lazy in that fight. He was kind of going through the motions and letting Marcus Brown dictate the pace and was beating him. And so
You're talking about Bivol, right?
the ref or the doctor told him, "Hey, bro, this cut's getting through your face. We're gonna have to stop it." That's when he turned it up. Against Joe Smith Jr., he showed another new wrinkle, started circling around. against Anthony Yard. You know, he was getting outboxed. Anthony Yard was being very slick, very herky-jerky like with the jab, moving around. And that might dictate people to go, now I'm going to go the Bivol route. Because if Anthony Yard can do it, Bivol's going to do it at a higher pace, better punches, better conditioning. He ain't going to get caught with those punches. But I think Artur would catch him. Like I said, every fight that I see and study Artur, I see new wrinkles to his game. And I think eventually, you know, Bivol showed, you know, that he has great class. But I also saw some things on the Joe Smith Jr. fight and even the Canelo fight that I didn't really like. You see, Canelo has a tendency to he gets tired in the later rounds. He got tired with Perro Angulo. He got tired with Erislandy Lara, Lara, and even Austin Trout in the same round where he dropped Trout. Trout got up and started walking Canelo down. So Canelo been having a tank problem.
Yeah.
You know, he always, it's because the muscle mass. He got tired in the Triple G every single fight, especially the third one. I mean,
but they want to blame it on the drinking. You know?
Anything. Canelo was getting tired towards the championship rounds, and that's when Triple G started getting up to life, and he got tired with the excess weight against Bivol. So I say all that to say that Bivol had a great run in 2022, but he lost all the momentum. To this day, I don't even think he has a fight scheduled. He might fight Alexander Volstik, but I want to get to a different point before we speculate who's going to win the fights, because, you know, it's just a Super Bowl pick. You say she pick, make a choose, it ain't really going to make any sense. But, bro, I don't even know what the fuck I just said, bro. What I said right now.
Hey,
I didn't say anything.
But I am hearing a lot of fucking
But hold on. I wanted to get to a different point before going back to like picking and fighting who's gonna win what. I feel that the Russian and the Cuban fighters that go and become professionals and excel at the top, they face no pressure to make the big fights happen. Let me just give you a little, just a little chart of what I'm speaking about. When Sergey Kovalev was a champion, there was this push for Andre Ward to move up and fight him. But we didn't keep that same energy for Triple G to move up in weight classes. He always stayed at middleweight. Up until his last fight against Canelo, did he finally go up to 168. Same thing with Kovalev. He was unified. Everyone was bring Andre Ward, the smaller man. They fought. But Kovalev never fought no other Russian. He didn't fight Alexander Volstik. He didn't fight Bivol. He didn't fight Artur Beterbiev. They didn't fight nobody. Even at cruiserweight, Usyk had to fight all them Russians. He had to fight Murat Gassiev. If you haven't seen that fight, it's really good, bro.
I have not. Really good. I need to watch that.
He fought Brady's. But to this day, those two Russians, Brady's, and Murat Gassiev haven't fought one another. You can look down at the lower weights. Sergey Lipinets. I think he might be from the Ukraine. I'm not exactly too sure. He hasn't even fought Butayev. So what I'm saying is we want, and I'm not trying to be like another video where everybody just complains and be like, oh, you just have an Americanized point of view. But the Russians and the Cubans aren't held to the same standard American fighters are held at, or even to the UK fighters. For instance, Canelo has to fluctuate up in weight, right? He has to fight all these guys. Oh, you got to fight Bivol. Like, there's a lot of pressure for Canelo to move up and fight Bivol, like there was pressure for him to fight Triple G. Now, to Triple G's fairness, Triple G just wanted the belts. First, it was Maravilla, Cotto, and Canelo. So it just became Canelo got the Cotto fight, and he was putting pressure on Canelo, right? But there was no pressure for Triple G, even when Abel Sanchez was like, hey, fight somebody at 154. The Cuban, Erislandy Lara, called him out. He was like, I'm going to go to 168 to fight Carl Froch. You know, Andre Ward's like, you ain't fighting Carl Froch. If you're fighting him, you got to see me. So there's no pressure for these Russians to be great. There's no pressure or demand for us to get this cruiserweight undisputed matchup, because there's nothing more for Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Sure, one guy can fight Callum Smith and you can recycle these fighters, Alexander Volstik, and these are great complementary fights to boast up and, you know, bring more popularity, maybe try to exploit the UK market or whatever the case may be. But that's not the fight that we want.
Yeah.
Right?
I just hope I just hope Beterbiev can make it through Calm Smith and doesn't ruin this unification bout, bro.
Well,
Undisputed bout.
even then, Callum Smith, I don't think highly of. And the reason I don't think highly of him is John Ryder beat him. And John Ryder was a last minute replacement because if you recall, they fought in the World Boxing Super Series, promoted by Kyle Sauerland, and he was supposed to fight George Groves. But George Groves, I don't know if they fought or maybe they did, but John Ryder ended up replacing George Groves because George Groves suffered like a pop shoulder on the Chris Eubank fight.
Yeah.
John Ryder was the last minute replacement to fight Callum Smith. And Callum Smith, in my opinion, from what I saw, John Ryder was pushing him back the whole fight. And I thought he edged it out probably 7 rounds to 5, 8-4. But they gave it to Callum Smith. And then I say all this because when he fought Canelo, I didn't see a thinking man.
Yeah.
You know, Callum Smith wasn't thinking. He just had a high guard. He tried to shoot a couple of punches, and he just put it up against the ropes.
Really timid.
And I was just like, damn, like, bro, where's your jab? Use your height. You're 6'3", you're 6'4". We just saw Sergey Kovalev was beating Canelo, nothing but pure jabs until he got caught.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, you 6'4" for a reason. Why are you trying to fight on the inside with him? Why are you allowing him to get pushed back, like circle around?
He thought he was blocking all those shots. In reality, they were connecting.
Yeah, he was decapitating his own fucking arm.
Yeah. So, yeah, and he was just letting him do it.
I didn't see a witty fighter. I didn't see a fighter with a lot of IQ. On the contrary, I do see that with Artur Beterbiev. I see a thinking fighter. I see a guy that picks his punches, that is thinking in there, that can counter, that can turn up and step on the gas when he needs to, you know, get the sense of urgency if he's down or the blood is gushing through his face. There's urgency with them. There's levels to Artur Beterbiev. I don't see that same urgency with Callum Smith. I saw him get walked down by Canelo. Now, mind you, you did say earlier, if Callum Smith can take Canelo's power, he can take Beterbiev. The thing is, though, Canelo.
I said Bivol.
Oh, you said Bivol?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just scratch that argument.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna say, like, I don't think Canelo's a big of a puncher as Beterbiev. I know that he's a little faster, but Beterbiev, bro, if you look at that boy's knuckles and those forearm exercises that he does, nah, bro, his pinky's got knuckles on them knuckles. Bro, that pinky knuckle. When I seen that, bro, I was like, yeah, bro, this dude's just a fucking heavy hitter. But anyway,
what throws me
urgency for these Russians to fight, kind of like there's no urgency for these Cuban fighters to make the big fights. Like even Robeisy Ramirez, right? I like Robeisy Ramirez, but he just fought on the undercard of Naoya Inoue versus Stephen Fulton. Now the fighter that he was fighting has some skill. I'm not gonna lie, but he was 37 years old. I want to see the Cuban Robeisy Ramirez in unification bouts.
Yeah,
the standard is just not there for these. For Russian and Cubans to give us the great fights. Even with your Denis Ugas, like, bro, where are you right now? Like, I want to see you fight again.
Yeah, you haven't heard one word from, no negotiation table, nothing.
So I don't know if it's the fans not demanding or putting pressure on these fighters, or possibly these fighters just don't care about their fans.
Yeah.
Right? Because let me go to a different point. Lomachenko, he's won 2 gold medals, one at featherweight, right? And then one at lightweight in 2012, right? In the London Olympic Games. And he won at lightweight, I think in the amateurs, I think that's either 132 pounds, which is like 63 kilograms, or 138 pounds. Right? So this guy's been fighting pretty much his whole career at lightweight. Yeah, he went down to 130 and 126. Even though he started at 126 when he fought Orlando Salido and things of that nature. He won a gold medal when he was 22, 20, whatever the age he was, at lightweight. Errol Spence, when he was amateur, he fought at 152 pounds. And then he started professionally as well at 152 pounds. And then he cut down to make 147 and fought at welterweight. But that's the welterweight limit. Olympic weight and the pro boxing weight, they're a little different in terms of the pounds. I don't know why.
Because I feel like it's harder to stay at the same weight because like these guys that were like starting off professionally, they were starting at what 18, 19. You're still growing. Your limbs are still growing.
Right.
So
But hold on,
you,
hold on.
yeah, go ahead.
Just not with the weight. The focus wasn't so much the weight. It
Mhm.
was Shakur Stevenson called out Lomachenko respectfully. He's like, "Hey, look, bro, let's fight."
But
You
he's
know?
crying about weight too.
And Lomachenko was like, "Nah, no disrespect. I just want the Devin Haney match. Devin
Yeah,
signed Rodriguez pro grade. Where is the pressure for Lomachenko to fight Shakur?
there is no pressure.
There is no pressure. I want to see that fight. Like, bro, you're supposed to eliminate the other fighters, so
Yeah.
all roads lead to you. If Shakur is next in line, I want to take him out. So Devin Haney comes back, you fight me again, bud. If George Kambosos has to fight, Lomachenko has to knock him out. It's like, nah, bro, you're not getting that fight. I'm getting it.
And honestly, Loma doesn't have to say anything to himself personally. Like that's why he has advisors. Their advisors supposed to be doing something too, you know, or they're a spokesman. They're what do you call them? They're like their translator. You know, like they're like his translator is like his manager or something like that as well, right?
Yeah. I forgot exactly what his name is, but yeah, I like
He
that
should
guy.
be he should be doing his job. He speaks better English. I mean, and I can see why you're saying urgency in Loma's part. Maybe he can learn better English. You know, step that up a little bit. I think that's what's stopping him a little bit from talking shit. Maybe he doesn't talk shit. I feel like there's a wall right there with age. I mean, age. Sorry,
Yeah.
language.
I don't think it's Igis Klimas. I think that might be Lomachenko's manager. There's this other guy who's like the translator. He's fucking funny. I love that guy. Like a chubby guy. He reminds me of not Todd McFarlane. What's that one guy from American History X that drives that little Volkswagen? He's a racist dude. I forgot. Anyway, I'm deviating too much. There's no pressure, right? It's like Warp Speed says.
You're talking about Lada's fucking translator, no?
Nah, not the Cubas. I'm not talking about that. There's this other chubby Russian dude. It's hella funny. I'll try to show you the IFL TV interview. But anyway, there's no pressure of the fans demanding Lomachenko to fight Shakur. It's like, no, I want Devin Haney. Well, what about now, bro? Devin Haney is fighting Regis in November or October. Are you just gonna sit out the rest of the year? No, bro. Give us Shakur. Bivol and Artur. What are you guys doing? Like, give us the fight. And I know Archer has Callum Smith, but bro, give us that fight. Part ways from Bob Arum, right? And just give us this fight. You're 38 years old. What are you gonna fight Bivol till you're 39 or 40? Like, there has to be some urgency.
Yeah.
And I think pressure to happen. Because if we look at Devin Haney, all right, this dude is 24 years old, right? Turned 24 years old. This dude traveled to fight George Kambosos twice. Now, most foreigners like Russian fighters, Cuban fighters, Argentinian fighters, Australian fighters, they always come to the States, right? But it's unheard of for American fighters to do so, right? We just take them for granted, like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. The Mecca boxing is Las Vegas, blah, blah, blah. And American fighters always stay in-house, right? But Devin showed something of a different mold. He went over there across the pond, fought George Kambosos twice. He didn't have to fight Lomachenko, but people weren't giving him the credit. He fights Lomachenko, right? Whether you think he wins or not, I don't really care. You know, what I care about, the fight's happening.
He did what Bivol's supposed to do.
He did what the fans pressured him to do. And Devin was like, hey, y'all want this fight? I'm with it. Here's a guy that Devin's been fighting at lightweight since he was like 15, 16 years old, right? He's cutting down so much weight, whether he wants to be a weight bully or whatever the case may be, but he's not allowing his body to grow, right? Because he should be at 140, 147. Devin said in an interview that he walks around 160 pounds. So he's cutting 25 pounds to make 135. He's not allowing his body to get that man strength.
Yeah.
Once he allows his body and moves up in weight, he might hit a little harder. But here's a guy that fought Lomachenko. Why? Because fans like myself, and especially my brother, they're like, Lomachenko deserves those belts. He went through the road of fighting Nakatani, Richard Comey, Linares, taking all these belts from these credible fighters, and then he had a slip up against Teofimo Lopez. He spotted him 6 rounds, right? Then we couldn't believe it that like Teofimo was dominating for 6 rounds with the jab, putting 6 to the body, whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
Devin concedes and he's like, all right, bro, I'll fight you guys. I'll fight Loma. I'll fight Regis Prograis.
That's why Devin's becoming the people's champ in a sense, because
absolutely, because he listens to the fans. He gives a fuck. Either there's an unwritten rule for these Russians, an unspoken rule that we're not going to fight each other. We're going to go fight the Browns, the Blacks, the Yellows, whatever the case may be. And then we'll fight one another if, later down the road, if we're the number 1 and number 2. Same thing with
honestly, does WBC have to sanction this fight? Can it be another fucking sanctioning body, and just ignore WBC and do what they did to Tim Tszyu, award the WBO? I know it's different sanction bodies we're talking about. They act differently or whatever, but man, just make the fight happen. Get in the ring together. And then we know in our minds who's undisputed, So that's what I had to say about that. Like, make that shit happen.
Drew, in the chat, Key Boomerang says, Kornilov Bivol, manager of Artur versus Bivol. There were discussions for June/July, but the bottom line is what were being discussed was not serious enough to make the fight happen at that point, right? So it's going back to this, reinforcing this nature that there's no urgency. Maybe the promoters don't want it. Maybe the conversations are preliminary talks for the future, right? They're okay with it. It's like if whatever Bob Arum says, right? I don't want to see this fight. We're protesting against Russian athletes. And then the WBC too. Oh, all that little fuckery that they do. I don't even know how they I don't even know how they don't get sued, bro.
WBC?
Yeah, like
man, I heard something about
nonsense. I have no idea how they. I mean, I guess when you're your own private entity, you can make up your own rules as you fucking go. But it's so disgusting. But yeah, man, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. It's like these Cubans and Russians. There's no pressure for them to move up in weight class and just chase greatness. I mean, look at Canelo, bro. This dude fluctuates and manipulates his weight. Whether it's the Mexican tacos with clenbuterol, this dude's moving up 175, giving Bivol an opportunity, right, to be great, right? Bivol was known. Bivol was known back in the day when he was fighting on HBO, and Andre Ward was sizing him up, and they had a little sit down and stuff like that. Bivol had been known against the circuit that this dude is the goods. He never really got that opportunity. Canelo went up. He thought he was sweet. Maybe he didn't, and he got beat. He rose up to the equation. Then he beat Zurdo, another Mexican, not an up and comer, because he had like 44 fights, but he ain't really fought nobody other than Jesse Hart. But yeah, man, there's just no urgency for these fighters to be great. Like I just want people to be active and fight, and then just.
It's a mindset that they carry, man. They live in a different country. We're on our phones, looking at social media. What we see greatness on social media. They're probably looking at it and they're thinking about there's more to life, and I feel like them being in war, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. I'm talking about like Ukraine, and all them. Like I feel like that has a lot to do with they got their minds on other things, especially like these Europeans, like it's like they have better things to like think about, bro. Like they're probably struggling or something, as far as Bivol, he's probably thinking, I'm good on money. I don't need any more money. I don't want more money,
Nah, hell no. There's no such thing.
Well, I mean, he's acting like it, He's acting like it. Non-American move right there.
Yeah, Bivol, he kind of played himself because he wanted to come down, to your point. He wanted to go down to 168, and he wanted to fight Canelo for his belt. Canelo was like, no, I want to fight you at 175 because I don't want people to make no excuses that I beat you drained. And also probably Canelo was a little fearful that Bivol would beat him for all his undisputed titles at 168. Because that's what I think. I think Bivol, if he were to go down, he would beat Canelo. But even that's the point. If Bivol can go down to Canelo to 168, why can't you go down there and beat up David Benavidez? You know what I mean? You have to make the master. If you can beat David Benavidez, then go fuck up Demetrius Andre. right?
Mm-hmm.
At 168. And then just be like, hey, Canelo, I want you. I'm after you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. It reminds me when, again, I don't know if Abel Sanchez said it or Triple G, but they said in an interview or maybe on Boxing Scene that Triple G can fight up to 154 to 168. And then for like the next 5 years, he never went down to 154 or did he go up to 168, right? So I'm just kind of like, bro, you guys either are you guys are great manipulators or we just let you guys get away with shit because we don't really care enough about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, those are great fighters, bro. I love Beterbiev, bro. That dude is nasty, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I love Bivol because he reminds me a lot of Mikey Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of in and out, 1-2 movement, beautiful stamina. I like it. And
And
these
what's crazy is that Beterbiev, he says, I'm still learning. That's fucking crazy. And he's
yeah,
like at this stage,
and I believe it. I
yeah.
believe it.
He's like, he says, I'm not a good boxer yet, or something like that. Like he's not, says not non-confident things, like stuff you're not supposed to say, I feel like maybe. Shit, if I had a son talking like that, I'd be like, bro, shut the hell up, bro. Like, don't let them know this. Like, what are you doing? But I guess he's confident enough to admit it. And it's taken him this far, dude. It's fucking crazy. Peter Reeve is so basic to me. And he gets the fucking job done, man. So that's why I love this fight, because Bivol's style, everything, man. It's a good mix for a good fight, So just sucks, man, with everything going down. I hope Beterbiev gets through Colin Smith. And I hope Bivol fucking fights somebody, dude. Like, come on. Like, if you're not gonna fight anybody, we're gonna keep asking you about Canelo, respectfully.
Yeah.
So
But honestly, I like Bivol a lot, bro. I'm not trying to talk shit to these Russian fighters. I think they're amazing talent. Not I think. I know they're amazing talent, and they can beat the snot out of pretty much every American, bro. I think.
shit.
I thought Marcus Brown is a really good fighter, and Beterbiev made him look mediocre.
He's an Olympian.
Whole freaking 6-inch cut right across his face, looking like Wolverine.
Yeah.
It was brutal, bro. That shit was amazing.
Mm-hmm. I'm worried about his cuts that he gets above the eyes. He gets cut up a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, with that forehead cut,
mm-hmm.
unless he gets another headbutt, I don't think it's really gonna open up. A lot of his cuts aren't really happening to under his eyebrows or his eyelashes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just right across the dome. And again, it's not like, it's still scar tissue. It's softened, but
yeah,
he didn't really get cut in the Anthony Yard fight, and Yard was landing some nice jabs, and he didn't really get cut even the fight before the Yard. I think Joe Smith Jr. because he's making it easy work. All right, let's check it out real quick. Yimmy says, no pressure. Bivol's manager said they turned down an offer to face Beterbiev and walked away. Bivol been ducking Beterbiev for years.
Wow. Let's see. Man, I don't know. I'm hearing a lot about Beterbiev.
Bivol been ducking Artur for years.
Bivol been ducking. I gotta read this again.
I do not believe this. I do not.
That's a tough one to really make true, man. Because really,
I don't think Bivol would duck, bro.
It's really an X and O's type of thing, man. Like, what do you see?
Beterbiev has the best timing and accuracy in boxing. As long as he keeps that, nobody can beat Beterbiev. I agree. He's quality.
Yeah,
he won't throw a lot of punches, but the ones that he throws, that's why he's got a 100% knockout ratio, because he knows how to properly place his punches, and both hands have power, bro. Fucking vicious.
Maybe he's that fucking durable,
Yeah, no, he's good, bro. Bivol been ducking Beterbiev for years. Let me go walk around on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can accept that.
Yeah, I'm like, huh?
Maybe true. I just don't know.
How should I approach this? Man. No, dude, it's an X and O's things, man. Like, Bivol is a superior fighter, man. Beterbiev slowing down, man. And it's showing every single fight. Um,
But
and
every single fight he's been like, I don't really think much of Anthony Yard,
mhm,
but because I seen him against Kovalev, in an older Kovalev, out of prime Kovalev, and he showed me that he gasses out. So I was like, you know what, Anthony Yard they're accelerating him way too fast. Frank Warren wants to make him a cash grab, and he got knocked out by a jab. And it was mostly because of fatigue against Kovalev. But as time went on, he got more experience. It looked like he understood and managed his body and his oxygen levels well, that he was giving Artur Beterbiev a really good fight. And I loved his chin. I thought Yard was chinny, all muscle,
mhm,
no intellect and no heart. But
mhm,
nah, in the Artur fight, he looked really good.
mhm.
Um, it was just really a matter of time. So I'm excited for Anthony Yard. I want to see more of him.
Yeah,
But Beterbiev has been, I don't know if he's been stepping up a lot in class. He did make quick work of Joe Smith, but I do like Marcus Brown a little more. And I do like that fight with Callum Johnson. When Beterbiev got dropped, he came back up and then slept Callum Johnson. So I wouldn't say that he's stepping up in class, but he has been showing new wrinkles. And again, he has 19 fights.
mhm.
So he's
Yeah,
got, like you said, he's learning every single time, which is scary.
yeah. How are
So
you
how
gonna say
much
that?
can you learn when you're a unified three-time belt holder? Like, bro,
Yeah,
he's
he
got.
goes, I don't think I'm good boxer. I'm like, bro, you're the fucking world champ. What do you mean?
He's the
You know?
fucking best.
Yeah. He has a really strong jab. I was gonna say, he has a super strong jab. It's it comes at you, and you just see everyone's reaction, bro. It's a slow jab, but that's the only way you really see that it's strong is their fucking opponent's reaction. Really strong jab. Um, I see what I see what where's he at? I'm trying to read that fucking I'm trying to read that comment right now where Beater has like really good timing. I think he does have that timing precision. It's just
Yeah,
with
Key Boomerang says Beterbiev has the best timing and accuracy in boxing. As long
yeah,
as he keeps that, nobody can beat him.
yeah. And with Bivol's in and out style, um, like I just don't see Beater like,
Timing that?
timing. I mean, he can time him once, but he's not gonna hurt him. He's not. I don't think he can hurt him. Maybe knock him off balance, but
So check this out.
he's gonna outland punches on him, maybe. But man, this is
That in and out movement, Bivol, Mikey Garcia had it, and Mikey got dropped at featherweight by Rocky Martinez. He was going in now. He's gonna throw. He threw the one. He's about to shoot the two, but Rocky slips it and boom, just throws the two and drops Mikey. Now Mikey ends up getting up and dropping Rocky Martinez to win.
flash knockdown, right?
Yeah, it was like a flash knockdown. But Beterbiev threw that same right hand on Anthony Yard, and that's what dropped him. So Bivol can get timed because also in the Joe Smith Jr. fight, even though like Bivol ended up outboxing and winning the whole fight, probably like 117, 112, he got rocked in one of at the ending of like maybe round 6 or 7, and he was dazed and he was walking to his corner all stumbling. So
Rocky?
yeah, he was rocked, bro. And I know that's why I told you like Archer can probably win that fight. I don't really know. Again, we have to just make these fights happen. But let's say what Key Boomerang says, Bivol makes no body shot because his vertical position. Yeah, the only way to beat Beterbiev is at the body. Ooh, that's dangerous going low and leaving your exposed face up in the top. I don't know. I wouldn't.
I think
to the body. I would try to throw combinations, 1, 2s, and 3, step back 2, 3, step back 6, 3, pivot and circle around Archer. I don't know if I want to dig to
it's
like Canelo to the body, and if you hit Canelo to the body, he's gonna catch it, boom, shoot up with uppercuts and hooks. Oh, I don't know.
And I think Coach told me this. He goes, closest thing to the body is the body. Not
what
the
does
head.
That mean?
It means the closest target on the body is the body, not the head. Does that make sense?
The closest thing to the body is the body.
Yeah, you go to the body first because it's the closest thing, then the
I
head.
know going to the body, obviously, if I hit the chest, if I hit the arms and the abdomen, it's a wider space to hit. Like I'm
Mhm.
more than likely going to have a higher success rate if I dig to the body, but I don't know.
Maybe it's height. Height
The
has a lot to
closest,
do
I
with it
guess it
too.
depends on what you mean by closest. That's kind of like
Because yeah, I think maybe let me rephrase that. Because if I was fighting the towering Inferno, his body's the closest thing to me. You know, his face is
right,
way up
right.
there, you know.
Exactly.
But
Like if I'm Brian Mendoza who knocked out Sebastian Fundora, I'm digging to that skeleton's body because
yeah,
his fucking face, I have to like jump up in the air. But Bivol is the taller. So since he's like 6'1" and Archer's like 5'10, 5'11, I don't really want to dig shorter. I want to fight tall. I want to use my arm length and let alone my in and out movement. I don't really, I mean, I can dig to the body, but if you really look at Bivol's success, you can tire fighters out like he did with Canelo, just with mental pressure coming in and out and just throwing 1-2, step back, 2-3, step back, 3-2s. Like I can tire you out with that mental pressure and just kind of dancing around the circle. Like look at Sugar Ray Leonard when he did it to Roberto Duran. He just fatigued them. It was just like, bro, I'm not gonna fucking like it was just mental exhaust. It's like, bro, you're fucking dancing over here. I'm trying to fucking fight with Pinchy Volasi cojones, and you're over here just showboating, just jabbing me to death. I think that would be Bivol's best game. I don't know. I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't try digging if
to
I'm
the
the taller
body.
man to the. But maybe you dig him to the liver, you slow him down, you bully these guys, you got a
I was,
shot.
I was just thinking height has a lot to do with it, man.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
it's height. You know, so it just depends, I guess. I think when I was being told that, I was sparring someone who was like 6'3", and I was like, okay. Now I'm thinking right now, yeah, his body was definitely the closest thing to me. Me being
Yeah,
5'9".
remember that kid Damien? He was like 6'4".
Yeah, I'm talking
And when
about
I
him. Yeah.
sparred him, like, I'm like 5'8" or whatever, I couldn't really reach to his face, nor did I even want to like throw
Engage.
looping shots. I just
Yeah.
kept throwing straight shots and right hooks to the body because it was closer. Like
Mhm.
that dude's chest was like to my face. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna hit. And he
Yeah.
didn't like that.
Mhm.
Now, conversely, he also threw a liver shot. Like he boomerang said, he threw a liver shot and he hit me. And remember, I fight on the southpaw stance. I kind of blocked it, but it still hurt. And when you have long arms like that, you can reach around
Yeah.
and in certain areas that maybe a shorter fighter wouldn't be able to reach around on a taller fighter.
Mhm.
Like you even saw that Jake Paul fight and Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz has some extremely long arms, and when he just tying up, you couldn't really hit anything because his elbow blocks the body, his hands protect his face. It's just like, God damn,
At the
bro,
same time, yeah.
for real.
And he has a small fucking like midsection, you know, like
Yeah.
long arms shaped like a fucking kangaroo. But
Yeah, he
yeah,
does
bro.
look like kangaroo, bro. Like he built like one too.
Yeah. you
Funny.
see? Did you see Jake Paul's diss on him?
Nah, I don't watch that shit, bro. Just
Oh man, oh, it was hilarious, man. It was hilarious. But he's
but
like knocking him
remember
in his.
that one picture of Mikey Garcia when they showed a deer flexing like from Kangaroo Jack the film?
Yeah, I've seen
He all
that.
flexing like his new muscles when he was gonna go fight Errol Spence. That shit
Yeah, that's just
funny, bro.
that's just hilarious. The
All
accuracy.
right, hey, Warp Speed, are you gonna hop on, bro? Because you wanted to talk about Mayweather telling Errol Spence he should be fighting at middleweight at 168, but you're not on the panel, so I don't really want to talk about that subject. I don't really care about Mayweather, and I don't really care about Spence fighting at 160, 168. So if you
Yeah,
want
I
to talk
think
that topic, you gotta hop on, bro.
it's not a good idea for him, but
Key Boomerang says, watch Bibol's fight stats, low amount of body shots. Yeah, I agree. He don't really dig to the body
mm-mm.
at all. It's just pretty much all head areas. Let me
Yeah,
see. Warp speed. Bivol's bounce versus Beterbiev's ability to get into his power range? Question mark. Like, are you asking me who's got a higher based on that?
I want to
Have more sense?
I want to see the like the tail of the tape. You know, I want to see their fucking their height and
Well,
their.
I can tell you it right now. Bivol is 6'1",
Uh-huh.
6 foot with 72 arm length.
Mm-hmm.
And then Beterbiev is 5'10" and a half, 5'11", with
Peter is only 5'10".
yeah, he's short, bro.
Wow, I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah, like
That means he's
he's
fucking
not that
strong as
tall.
fuck.
That's
At
why
light,
that motherfucker's stocky, bro. Like,
at light
bro, have you
heavyweight.
seen that dude's neck? Like, pause, bro. But that dude, he
Ripped.
got earthed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know.
That boy thick, bro. Pause, bro. Major
He's a
pause.
thick,
But yeah,
thick
bro.
boy.
Like, you know, he's like 3 inches taller than Canelo. He's stocky as hell, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
why
know.
he block off dudes.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this fool's jacked, bro. Like, this fool must have fucking twig legs, you know?
Yeah, bro. If you go on YouTube and you watch him like his workout session. That boy is just well proportioned.
Yeah.
Thick legs, thick calves, big forearms, shoulders,
Well
neck,
balanced.
strong ass back. He looks like
Fucking
fucking Hugh Jackman, but like 5'10" version, dog.
yeah, and he does these wrestling workouts. You know, you were just saying it earlier where he gets on his fists like in the push-up position type of thing, and he gets on and he goes on his fingers and he pushes out, you know, and he's just working out his forearms in a push-up position. I was like, man, that's like a non-boxing workout. Shit, maybe it does help out, but man, I feel like I'll break my wrist like that.
Workouts, you know, like if he's doing grappling techniques and shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like to reel him, you know, in case he's in trouble or something. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, or maybe he just incorporating that into his training regimen.
Yeah. Cause yeah, I'm like, dude, I did that when I wrestled, you know, like that's like different, you know, like I feel like I break my wrist, you know, like now because I'm like, you know, wrapping up every day or almost every day.
Yeah. No, it's actually really good training because you get more durability and you're more formidable in those little ligaments that are by your hand tendons and your wrist. So when you take impact with these small ass 8-10 ounce gloves, you know,
your wrist won't bend.
Distributed rather than just breaking your fucking fist. If you have strong forearms, that takes a lot of the impact as well. Let alone when you throw proper technique, get the shoulder in there. Nah, it's just smart. Keith Woomring says Spence looked unprepared for this level of boxing against Crawford. I'm sure he tough. Only his talent was enough. I picked Crawford split decision like 115, 113. I was wrong. Yeah, I thought it was a 50-50 fight, maybe 60-40, either or. I was wrong too. I picked Spence mainly because I wanted him to win because his run at welterweight was incredible. I love the 3 fights that he gave us, flying over across the pond, fighting Kell Brook, fighting Ugas, fighting Sean Porter. Those 3 fights have a lot of replay value, so I wanted him to cement himself basically to the Hall of Fame book by becoming undisputed, the first welterweight in the 4-belt era. But Bud shut those dreams down, and he did so with to this day, I can't even find the right words to label that stellar performance.
Masterpiece, bro. Like, yeah.
I don't even know, bro.
Like,
that was shocking.
Like, if I was fucking controlling the other guy in a PS4 fucking controller, bro, he'd beat me. Yeah. You know, that motherfucker is a fucking computer, bro. Like,
it reminded me of when Cotto beat Sergio Maravilla, and he dropped him 3-4 times in that fight. Now Maravilla had knee surgery to replace like his ACL, and he hadn't fought over a year and a half. And he came back and fought Cotto and lost his middleweight belt. But I didn't see that with Errol. I thought Errol, and now I saw his flaws, and other fighters like Kell Brook was beating him up until those knockdowns. Sean Porter could have had a draw with him, a majority draw, or if not, win the fight had he not got dropped in the 12. And Ugas probably could have dropped Errol after that punch that knocked the mouthpiece off his mouth. But none of them were able to successfully continue to exploit Errol. Errol made his adjustments, or maybe his toughness and grit showed up. But
the ref did stop it.
Yeah, so. Bro, I'm holding my ground. Yeah, dude, that was just fucking amazing game planning strategy. Yeah, that was incredible. That was fucking epic, bro.
Yeah, and just looking at how Crawford was moving, I'm like, this shit happens at 154. Exact same way too, maybe.
154, it happens at 160, 175. It does not matter.
Hey, it happens when there are 8. Nah, I'm just kidding. It happens when there are 8 men.
Bro, just in the animal kingdom.
Bro.
The Lion of the Jungle. Bud Crawford is that fucking dude. Like
Yeah.
that was in every aspect, bro. He made Spence look like an amateur. Like, oh man, I'm getting hit with this crazy punches. Let me just close my eyes and hope to God that I don't get hit. Like that was it was terrible. Anyway, a Warp Speed. What did you want to talk about with Floyd Mayweather saying that Errol should move up to middleweight 168? What's your
Okay. Well, good evening, fall gentlemen. The homie Ricky, thank you for the invite. Drew, always a pleasure again. Um, well, first off, I wanted to say that was quite an insightful dialogue between you gentlemen regarding the Russian participation in this violent yet organized sport that all of us gents love here. Um, so thank you very much. I apologize that I did not want to hop onto that uh, part of the combo just due to the fact that I tend to prefer to uplift our fighters and speak well of them instead of ill. And mostly because I don't have much to say about the Russian fighters at this moment, because I do tend to agree to some extent that they haven't really given us much to really get excited about, especially quite recently. I think this the main topic of the day being is Beterbiev ever gonna fight Bivol or vice versa is
I don't mean to cut you off, Warp, but you just said that you didn't want to hop into the conversation because you didn't want to discuss. So
yeah, about that.
that's the
That's
main
why I didn't want to hop on that. But I did want to ask you, gentlemen, regarding the news of the day, which is making the rounds in most boxing related venues, which is what Mayweather said regarding what he would do if he happened to be the manager of Errol Spence. And I found it to be quite controversial, like most everybody is. Obviously, it's a hot topic, a hot take, really. But what, and I will quote right here regarding what he would do. Says, so both of these guys went out and did what they had to do, and the best man won. But with Errol Spence being under the PBC banner, I want the best for Errol Spence. So if I was training him or I was in his corner, I don't think he should be fighting at 147 at all. I don't even think he should be fighting at 154. I think he should be fighting at 160 or 168. That's just my honest opinion. But once again, I don't have no say when these guys, certain fighters, when they want to fight, our job is to line them up. And us fighters, we're warriors. We always want the fight. We want to fight the best. It's just how it is. So he, and then if you listen to the rest of his interview, which I believe was on Fight Hype, right after he said that, he didn't expound on why he was of that inclination, why he was of that ideation. He just went off and talked about how he was the greatest and how he can be compared to some of the greatest fighters of all time, and how he just most recently purchased a 10 figure home. And he never really clarified what he meant by completely skipping a whole division in 154. So I started to just mull over the concept of how a fighter, after his very first loss, of course, a devastating one, by the way, would have some people say that he should retire, and I am to some extent in partial agreement with that, and I've spoken about that before. But nonetheless, just go on to the next thing, which is that if Spence Jr. is to fight again, he should skip a whole division at 154 to perhaps campaign at 160, maybe as high as 168. And the only thing that I can think of, which is what he's hinting at, is that Errol Spence really outlived his tenure at 147, as if perhaps the weight was the reason why Errol Spence lost. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe that styles make fights, so that played a big part of it. The second part, which we've also discussed before, is that Spence does not tend to live the fighter's lifestyle. He does not approach this sport with the type of dedication and sacrifice as somebody of the ilk of Crawford. We have in Spence a fighter that has, of course, been in that near fatal car crash. We've seen him partying in clubs. I think I've seen him kissing men,
What?
playful or whatnot. Well, we are talking about the fighters that hang out together, like
Whoa.
Gervonta Davis and Adrian Broner, unless I'm mistaken, of course. But he is very, he's very friendly with some of the rappers of Texas. Now, I'm not trying to say anything bad
Texas.
about the gentleman. I'm not trying to say nothing bad about the gentleman because, again, this is my favorite fighter at 147, or was, because he may not be there at 147. But I don't think I've ever, in my nearly 40 years of following the sport, have I ever um, seen something like this, witnessed something like this, where people and even some Mayweather are saying that Errol Spence is so bad at what he does that at 147 he has no chance after his devastation, that he is in fact too big uh, to even make weight at 154 competitively, and he should just take it easy and maybe cut less weight to make it easier on himself and just start at 160. Now, I've never witnessed something like this. I've seen fighters become so dominant at a weight class that they skip the next weight class and hop over one or two. We just saw that in Inoue. He jumped from 112, skipped 115, and missed all of Chocolatito and Juan Francisco Estrada, Sorun Bisay, and all of those guys, probably to allow them to beat themselves up while he went on his own way and did his own thing at 118. But that's because they are so dominant. They go up because they are so dominant. And a lot of the time, a lot of these fighters go down in weight so that they could have some semblance of physical ability to carry them into successful positions in the sport because of the advantages that cutting weight would bring to them, especially if they have good rangy arms and proper height. But in this case, we have people calling for Errol Spence to skip a whole division and fight two divisions up, maybe even three, because of his beatdown. Now, I say that the best thing to do if Errol Spence should want to fight again is one, forego his thinking, which is he does not like to have soft touches or tune up fights. Okay. I say, first off, yes, you should, because you're probably suspended in quite a few states because of the beatdown that you received. And if making weight is hard at you at 147, go down to the class that will still allow you to cut weight and give you some of those physical abilities to become a proper contender. So that would be 154. But take a soft touch or a tune up at 154, see how you fare there, and then decide whether you still have it in you after everything that you've gone through in the past few years to fight on. But again, I just thought it was quite hypocritical and even illogical for somebody in the position of Mayweather to insinuate that this man is so out of his league at 147 after just one fight that he should skip another division. And the thing I wanted to ask of you guys is, what do you guys think about a proposition like that, where they people think you may no longer provide anything of value to the sport in a competitive fashion?
Sure. Relax, bro. Listen, you gotta be concise, bro. You gotta be concise because you said like 4 or 5 of the same things over and over with different words. Listen, Mayweather is a great businessman, but when
Great
it
businessman.
comes to managing other fighters or his input on other fighters, that dude's fucking retarded. Listen, Errol got his ass beat by Bud Crawford. Just because Bud Crawford can fuck him up doesn't mean everybody else can fuck him up. That doesn't mean Boots can beat him.
Styles makes fights.
Absolutely. Or just Bud is that special fighter, right? So Errol can test the waters at 154 and he can beat Brian Castano. Or maybe Brian Castano or Tim Tszyu, excuse me, they fuck him up. Like, I haven't seen an ass beating like this ever at this level between two undefeated fighters with belts on the line. You will see this with like Floyd versus Arturo Gatti. You might see an ass beating like Canelo versus Perro Angulo. But that's expected because the level of their opponent isn't on par where everyone thinks it's 50-50. No, you expect Canelo to fuck up Angulo. You expect Floyd Mayweather to fuck up Arturo Gatti. You expect Artur Beterbiev to beat up Callum Johnson and Joe Smith Jr. Those aren't 50-50 fights, right?
And there's an argument saying that if Errol fought in Texas, then it would have gone the distance because Texas, their officials are really lenient. They let fights go on, and that's what I heard about, the state of Texas. But man, this happens in any state, anytime, that shit don't really matter, but
yeah, that kind of like, I mean, I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense. Like, why would Texas be much more lenient? Like, in what aspect?
They're just their jurisdiction, bro. Like they don't fucking stop and like if they see a fight and the person's still standing up, I hear that their judges or their
but that's the refs' decision.
The refs, my bad. I heard the refs.
The judges.
No, the refs, my bad. The refs fucking are lenient in Texas. Like they let
maybe
go on.
Texas they want blood. Maybe they want spitting out.
I want blood.
I heard they're brutal.
Eyeballs being gauged out like when fucking Negan from The Walking Dead was blastering. You guys know that show?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not.
But no, that's
but it doesn't matter. Bud was gonna fucking decapitate Spence, whether it was in Texas, New York, California. It don't matter how lenient or how strict you are on stopping a fight, or if you're squeamish because one dude is being fucking caved in. Like it doesn't matter. Like RB Doc, I think that was a ref.
I was just trying to point out that argument.
No, look, going back to whether Errol Mayweather should, if he were to manage Spence to going up to 160 and 168, those dudes up there would fucking destroy Errol. Canelo would fucking kill Errol. Carlos Adames,
I was gonna point him out.
He's like right there asking for Jamel Charlo's belt, would fucking destroy Errol. Errol looked trash, bro. Now it could be the dehydration, right? I mean, Errol's been at that weight class since he was 15 years old of being a welterweight, since the Olympics and his Olympian days all the way to a pro. That's a really long time sucking down, especially like you said, Warp. He ain't living that fighter lifestyle. He balloons up to 185. So I can understand where Mayweather's saying, like, yeah, I've been around I've been around Spence. I know how he eats. I know how he drinks. He should be at 168. It'd be a much more lenient, weight cut. It wouldn't be so mentally frustrating. But again, this is Errol's fault.
Yeah, it just depends how he carries the weight. Like if I want to be nice to him, it depends how he's gonna get. It depends how he's carrying that weight. If he's still flat-footed at higher weights, and it also depends who he fights. What's a soft touch? That's the question. Like, what's a soft touch to Errol? Like you said, Adames. I was thinking about Adames when he brought up that whole Floyd comment. I was like, he ain't going past Adames. Adames is a dog, and who knows, bro? Like, shit, Julian Williams. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, Julian Williams versus Errol would be a really good fight. I wouldn't even call that a tune-up because Julian looked pretty good against Adames.
They weren't even supposed to stop it when they fought. I think it was an early stoppage. So I think I just named a solid opponent for Errol.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But just like Mayweather been out of the game like for a while, and he's fighting the guys of John Gotti. So when it comes down to matchmaking and even weight classes, like I don't even care really about his input. It don't even make any sense. I want to see Errol versus Bud at 154, not because I think anything changes after the fact of what I saw, but just the fact that if we're talking about a tune-up, Bud ain't ever fought at 154 either. Was that ass beating so bad that we have to pull guys like Hugo Centeno Jr. out of retirement just to fight Errol Spence for a tune-up. Like,
Jeez.
Bud fucked him up. Like, it's okay, bro. Kind of like Mayweather outboxed the shit out of Canelo. Should Canelo fight tune-ups because Mayweather beat his ass? No, bro. Like, that's one of the legends of today's sport. Like, it happened. It's okay.
Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting how Mayweather seemed to be dissing Spence at the same time as placing him in a position where, like you mentioned, he would get beat up by dudes at 160 and 168. But you know, I think what you said right there is it's a good fight. What you guys just proposed is a very good fight. I guess another thing would be, you know, because I do think 154 would be the natural transition to determine whether he would have an opportunity to become a 2-division champion. But at the same time, maybe.
Hello. Yo.
Hey, yo, Speed, you got cut off. You're not saying anything.
All right. Well, I guess I'll carry it on.
I was like, if he muted himself, but probably like Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, probably.
Yeah. Now you're back. Now you're back.
Oh, so yeah, so I was saying that he seemed to be at one hand dissing Spence, and secondly putting him in a position to be beat up by bigger men. But that also, of course, would allow us to beg the question: is will 155? I think so, but who would who would be the proper opponent to pit Spence with at 154 to determine whether or not he can ever become a 2-division champion, or maybe even a gatekeeper? Because
as a promoter, I'm setting him up with that dude Julian Williams. I think I just named a good opponent, but
yeah, I heard that. That was a good one. That was a good one.
As a fan, if we know he ain't gonna be the best when he moves up, then why, you know, then just fight out. I know he probably can't make that weight, but we know that he ain't gonna be the best at 154. I mean, we don't know that for a fact, but we're if we put some money on it, I guarantee you, like, he's losing down the line at some point. You know, it's just too many dogs. Yeah, probably dogs that can beat.
I think we have to go softer than that, man. Julian Williams is active and he's at 160. I'm not having Errol move up at 160. He can stay at 154 and he can fight Keith Thurman. To do that ain't Fawcett's loss. So I'd rather have him fight Keith Thurman and then
the fight that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that makes much more sense than fighting at middleweight or at 168. No, he can fight Keith Thurman at 154.
Yeah, that's a good one.
To your point, about that. I don't think Floyd Mayweather is taking shots at Errol Spence. I think Floyd Mayweather is subliminally, like, there's an underlining message. In fact, I think he's discrediting, or almost, he didn't want to, but it almost sounds like he's discrediting Bud Crawford's performance, saying, look, bro, I don't want to say anything, but Errol should be fighting at 160, 168.
I'm telling you.
I read that. I was trying to read in between the lines. I was like, that's how I interpret it. He's basically saying, I've been around Errol. But the fact that he's making 147, like 15 years after the fact that he's 15 years old, like,
the reason why I thought he was dissing the reason why I thought he was dissing Spence is because, remember those rumors about how he put hands on Mayweather as a 22, 23-year-old guy. So that's one of the reasons why I thought maybe he was taking shots at. But of course, like you said, consequentially, he's also dissing Crawford, but he really can't diss Crawford because Crawford came down 2 divisions to me, started at 2 divisions lower. So there's really no way you can discredit Crawford for what he's accomplished at 147 and beating Errol Spence, because he started at 135, maybe even. To
me, 135. I think so.
So you can't discredit the guy. There's nothing Mayweather can say. But of course,
Yeah, he didn't want to say anything because he knew if he said something, people are gonna be like, "Oh man, you hate on Bud." And he said, but that's kind of how I interpreted it. Now he was dissing Arrow subliminally as well, saying, "Look, if you're signed with PBC or if you say Al Heyman's name, you're basically saying you're with me." So these
Yeah, he said that.
now that's dissing. From
Yeah.
Errol Spence is saying, "Look, bro, whether you think you're talking to Al, motherfucker, Al talks to me because that
Yep.
PBC money and that hedge fund investors that came from Waddle and Reed,
Yep.
that shit came because he's associated with Floyd Mayweather. So all this network deals is because it's what I did with them and to have all these connections. That's how he was trying to like be like, shut your ass up, Spence. I still caught the shots." And then he was subliminally almost going to diss Bud Crawford because saying like, "Look, bro, that dude been at welterweight for a really long time. He should be a fucking middleweight. That boy's big. He's like 185 walking around weight when he's drinking and he's eating tri-tip from Texas. I don't even know how he makes 147. That's
No, brisket from Texas. Brisket from Texas. Tri-tip is from California.
That's in Texas.
Yeah. Ribs is from Memphis.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but that's how I look at it. But yeah, I think Adrian wants Drew wants on his promoter cap. I would have.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
First and foremost, just to exploit the money in the situation, I would have Errol fight Bud Crawford. But if I care about Bud Errol and getting back to his winning ways, hey, you're gonna fight Keith Thurman at 154, and then we're gonna go into the Errol the Bud Crawford rematch.
That's a perfect fight. That's the perfect fight. Yeah, that's the perfect fight, guys, right there. Because here's the thing: if you ask a boxing fan like myself whether or not I want to watch a rematch between Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol the True Spence, I would say absolutely not, under no circumstance. Because I don't think a lot of, although I do believe the weight and maybe more things contributed to the downfall of Errol Spence, I also believe that the destruction at the hands of Terrence Bud Crawford is something that's going to leave a lasting impression on Spence, whether that's something mental or otherwise. We've seen it before. Anthony Joshua became quite tentative with his after every loss. On his rematches with Andy Ruiz, he was a different fighter. He didn't want to go balls to the wall like he was trying to in his first fight. And then after having been beat twice by Usyk, he was again very gun shy to even fight somebody like Jermaine Franklin. So I think that's the kind of beatdown that will leave that kind of mental shock on a fighter, where he's even less competitive than in the first fight. And in most rematches, it's the boxer over the pressure fighter that tends to learn how to overcome any kind of difficulties he may have had in his first fight. So the second time around, he will be just much more dominant, especially after the recovery time that Spence is going to need. So I do not want to see that. But that Thurman fight that you guys talked about, that is perfect, because that has been something that's been discussed before. There is some value to it. Both of those fighters have been in pay-per-views. So Spence would have to have a money fight because he's already a money fighter. You cannot become a fighter that helps sell 650,000 presumed the pay-per-views and then expect to take down a fighter that will offer you less money and less views than in the other fight. So no, Thurman is perfect for that fight right there on his return at 154.
Yeah, that fight was supposed to happen too, and I was like, I personally was not happy about it. I was like, bro, fight Bud Crawford, but that fight's over and done with. It makes sense now. Thurman, I seen him. He was like calling out Bud, or not Bud. He was like, oh yeah, he kind of was calling out Bud, but he was saying like referencing to Errol and all that. I'm not flat-footed like him. I'm not, all this shit, talking this shit, I would like to see that as well, because he's got that one-time power. But if anybody was gonna be Bud, it was gonna be Errol, and he didn't do that. And I've seen some flaws on Thurman. So yeah, where they're at, in their boxing careers, I think it fits well in the narrative. Like, so 154 makes I mean, he makes sense. I was While you were talking, I was thinking of Ryan Mendoza, but
Mm.
down the line though,
Mm-hmm.
just so he can say that he became a world champion at that weight. I'm just trying to find out who he can beat to become a world champion. You know, because styles do make fights. I don't want to put him away. Like, and say that he's not gonna beat anybody and all this. It's really who he fights. Um, just depends who. And it's not really like a B or C fighter question. It's like who. It's really who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence. Errol's just flat-footed, man, and doesn't. I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, man. It looks like he's setting stone on his ways, man. So he's trying to rely on that power and durability, and hopefully, he's hoping it gets better at 154. But Floyd saying what do you say, 160, 165,
Yeah, 168.
168. I was like,
Yeah.
mm, I think what I got from that, because he didn't mention himself. Usually, when you as a fighter, you get a little prideful when you're watching these fights, and you're like, that wouldn't happen to me, and
Mm-hmm.
some attitude will slip out, and you'll probably say, he probably would have said some shit like, well, look at me. He would have been talking about himself, but he didn't do that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking he lost a shit ton of money or something, you know, because
Mm.
if he really fucking if he really was like hating, it's hating because he lost some money. It's not hating because he would have done better. He didn't mention himself. So I already know how a prideful, a prideful fighter talks. He starts talking about himself, and usually Floyd likes to be in the center of attention. You know,
Oh, right
yeah,
after that, Drew, he completely didn't give any explanation for why he would move him up to 160, 168. He immediately,
yeah,
without explaining, he just went and talked about how much money he had and about you should see it. It was hilarious because he
yeah,
just said that, completely forgot what he was saying, and he just talked about his millions and what else he wanted to do.
yeah.
But it was
He zoned
hilarious.
out. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, bro, you're fucking stupid, man. Go read a book.
What about this one though? The fight of the beatdowns. Erickson Lubin versus Errol Spence.
That's
Both
a
of them.
dangerous fight. I think that's a dangerous fight for Errol. Honestly, I think I was telling Isho this the other day. Uh, him and Lubin.
Hmm.
Lubin's bigger than him. He's like slightly bigger than him. And he started at that weight class. I think he fought in the amateurs, made it all the way to the finals, and lost to, I forget who he lost to in the finals. In the Olympic trials, but he made it to the finals. And this dude, like, I'll think of his name when I get to it. But this dude is legit, bro. Like he was in a war with Fondora, and you've seen the type of beating he took. He's gonna see them shots coming from Errol, and I think he's used to the power. I think he's taking that power. With his footing, he has way better. And then that's the thing, it's his footwork. His footwork will give Errol some trouble if his power can translate. Um, you know, so yeah, I was thinking of I was telling Isho this. I was like, dude, I would bet on fucking Lubin, bro.
Lubin. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I just think that it would be an intriguing fight because obviously Lubin has fought his sparring partner and one of the Charlos, if the small Charlo, the undisputed Charlo, so they could always share notes on what it is. Well, then again, didn't the fight only last like one round? So it was like a one punch knockout and that was it. So maybe there's really not much to discuss. But then, of course, he has that history with a stablemate. They can make something out of that. Talk about how his stablemate already beat him, so forth and so on. And we know that even though Erickson Lubin does have good footwork, sometimes he'll just forego it to make it a scrappy fight. and that's why he ended up looking the way he did against the towering Inferno Fandora. So
Mhm.
if we see Erickson Lubin stay in the pocket with a pressure fighter the caliber of Errol Spence, uh, we might see a very bloody fight.
Yeah,
Which is really all that we can ask for. I mean, look, of course, I'm thinking more as a fan in wanting to watch a very violent affair.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I would reckon maybe the manager of Errol Spence, if I'm not mistaken, he might even be his own manager,
Mhm.
with his own say so. He might just say no, that's not the fight. But then again, he says he doesn't do tune-ups. He might even want to call for Terrence Crawford, which again I'm not interested in.
But you seen how happy they were about to get paid. They were gonna get paid handsomely, and that's, you know, uh, human nature, man. If you're about to get paid however millions you're gonna get paid, you're obviously excited about that, and you're fucking high fiving, you know. So I get the excitement, but Arrow was like more like, uh, trying to make get his family set up for life, and
And I think he may have achieved it, Drew. I think he may have. That's
I think he already has. So I think he's trying to double up. Maybe he's dollars have to make sense on his end, and I think he's more on the dollar side than he is on the legacy side. Crawford is legacy side, you know. But that's what worries about me about Spence, man, because he needs a soft touch, and that soft touch ain't gonna pay much, you know. Um, but yeah, those guys will be the guys that we named were good in fights, but man, Lubin's a fucking dangerous fight for him.
Yeah, in every job, from when I started as a kid working up until my years, I've never accepted lesser pay. It's just on principle. The
Mhm.
experience that comes with working and keeping your nose clean and providing value to a company, by the experience that you have in the various uh, levels that you can provide them by working in different places and learning new skills and abilities. I would never accept a pay cut.
Mhm.
So I would imagine that Errol Spence would have to take a fight that would be pay per view. But here's the thing, though: what kind of fight would offer him any more money and pay per view
Nothing's gonna.
sales?
I don't think nothing's gonna reach Crawford's fucking numbers. If it's like if it was like Canelo, then yeah. But it was really it was really just Canelo that was gonna make him double up on that check, Um,
Yeah, and the
Luke.
funny thing is,
Mhm.
that's not Spence's fight. That might be Terrence Crawford's fight to take. Jump up two divisions in three divisions or whatever it is, and fight Canelo, because that's a viable fight. That's actually a more realistic fight than over somebody like Spence doing the same thing after getting destroyed like that.
On paper it looks good, but like you hear their answers when they're asked that question. Or no, Crawford's answer, he says he's not
Move up.
moving up to 60.
Yeah.
He's not touching 60. Uh, he wants to be lean. He wants to stay fast. He's smart, bro. He's not trying to get all big, bro. That's how he has all this he has like this wire strength. This was skinny, but man, that muscle is compact, bro. And I feel like Errol's just doing those football workouts, squatting, trying to look fit. Um, but I think Crawford knows that, hey, this is my peak. I'm gonna slow down at 160, and he just knows himself, bro. Like he knows that he's been his chin's been tested. Um, so Canelo's just a big name. He already thinks Jermel's gonna lose. So it's like, and Canelo's never gonna touch 154 again. I think the last time he touched that was when he showed I believe I heard James Kirkland, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was James Kirkland. I might be wrong though. That was just kind of like a shot at a shot at the wall. But um, yeah, man. On paper it looks great. I told Ricardo this. I was like, man, this fight I want. It's just that what I'm listening to on YouTube, it don't sound too realistic, you know. And then the way Canelo's like, you know, Canelo respects this dude. He didn't really mention too much about fighting him, but he's on the downtrend, man. So yeah, that's why, and that's also why I wanted to have this fight happen. He's on the downtrend, and Terrence is on the uptrend. But man, I want both of those guys as good as possible, and I want to see it. I want to see that product on the ring, but we're not gonna get that, man. One has they're both old,
Yeah.
or not old, but mid 30s, you know. So
Hmm.
it's just the lines didn't align on this one, you know. Yeah, I want Terrence, you know, to if I mean if Jamal wins or Jamel, I mean if he wins, I want that fight, you know, and that probably will happen. But yeah, man, I think that fight won't happen, man. That was they were talking about Spence Canelo, not Crawford Canelo before this, you know.
Did you and yeah, so you know the what I really find refreshing and I really respect this is that undisputed Charlo is gonna go up to 168 to have a shot at twice undisputed. And I guess as soon as he touches the ring, they're gonna strip him of one of the belts, so then he wouldn't be undisputed. And I can't remember what sanctioning body that was, but nonetheless, he's gonna have a shot at becoming a two-time undisputed fighter, and people are actually taking it serious, right? Like nobody is belittling or minimizing the opportunities of little Charlo to actually win that. A lot of people are, of course, saying it's a tall order, but they still give him some shots. And maybe it's like, I don't know, like maybe you know, just on the percentages is maybe more like a 65 35 or 60-40 or something like that, just off of record alone and the accomplishments. Of course, that of course favors Santos Barragan, but we also know that Little Charlo has many physical attributes that will allow him to become quite competitive, especially if he fills into 168, using his physique
Mhm.
as a tool. So I do find that fight to be intriguing. I'm not too sure what happens if Charlo wins.
Mhm.
If he stays at 168, because at
Mhm.
168 we would have to consider fights like Benavides or Plant or Andrade, which, by the way, I think Andrade is in some kind of rumor to be in conversations with Benavides. But it's almost like if we go based off the record, I think PBC fighters, when they've crossed over to other stables, including Top Rank and maybe even Matchroom, their record is 4-20 losses, 4 wins, 20 losses. Um, I can't name the names. I know that 410 versus Inoue was one of them, and then Wilder versus Fury is another, and so forth and so on. But uh, we can look at history and say something about the way that they've been matched in house does not allow them to fare well when matched outside of their promotional company. And if that's going to be the streak, then of course we can assume that Canelo will win, and then we have to say what does that do for Charlo and who's the next guy in line for Canelo, because I still don't know. I still don't know what's going to
Mhm.
happen at 168 with Charlo and Canelo, because I really do think it's a quite competitive fight.
There's a lot of rumors about Canelo on the downtrend. Jose Benavidez talking hella shit, so that's really my uh, outlet. Like he's saying that all this crazy stuff that Canelo's like drinking a lot. He's not preparing like he's supposed to. He's gonna lose to
What?
Jamel. All this shit. So I'm like, if that's true, we're gonna find out that night because I mean Canelo's been disciplined throughout his whole career. So I don't know if the rumors are true, man. I, like I want to say that maybe like this was his last contract. This was his last contract with the.
Yo, pardon the interruption, but
Yeah.
Mr. Larry Liston says, got a little news for you guys. Anthony Joshua opponent is highly likely to be Robert Helenius. That's an absolute horrible fight and an easy win for AJ. He prefers AJ should have fought Philip Hrgovic or Martin Bakole. This is embarrassing. Now, I guess if the rumors are true and he's supposed to fight Deontay Wilder for December over there in Saudi Arabia, I can see how they can build up some type of like momentum or like some cross fighter, like similarities. Oh, Wilder knocked out in the first round. Anthony Joshua knocked him out in 2 rounds. X, Y, and Z. They can always run with those headlines. But Hrgovic and Bakole are a little too tough, especially given that Anthony Joshua can make last-minute adjustments like he did. He can't, like he did with Andy Ruiz. You don't want an upset. Bakole is heavy, bro. He's a heavy hitter.
I need to see him fight.
Philip Hrgovic, he's got some talent. He's got some IQ. But I would have liked AJ to fight maybe a Tony Yoka, a guy who, is a gold medalist, and then Martin Bakole did knock him out already. But
jeez, I remember that.
I would rather see like 2 gold medalists go at it like that. It's very rare that you see 2 gold medalists go at it in the pro game, right? You saw like Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko. It was outclassed. You rarely see it, so that can always be like an intriguing headline.
Yeah, I heard Hrgovic is really a dangerous fighter. Sorry. I heard Hrgovic is a really dangerous fighter too.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. I was actually watching part of his fight with Big Bang. And they gave it to Big Bang, bro. Or no, he beat Big Bang. Never mind.
You mean Big Bang Zhang?
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I thought Zhang took it, but
I took it. Yeah,
close fight. It was still a close fight.
Yeah, it was a really close fight, man. Close rounds.
Philip, he's good though. I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, to save the show. I mean, check this out. If Anthony Joshua was going to fight Dylan White, that's an easy win. That's on par with a Robert Helenius, on par with Tony Yoka. Hrgovic and Bakole, that's like asking, like those are better than Dylan White. Like you gotta go lower than that. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Liston? But
you're getting closer
I do agree.
You're close to Usyk.
Yeah, Robert Helenius is terrible.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. That's it's quite disappointing because the one fight that could spark that fire under Anthony Joshua's rump would have been Dylan White because of the animosity that they've had, their past fight, the fact that that Anthony Joshua would have the confidence in knowing that even though Dylan White has always been, a valid competitor, he's already had a victory over him. And of course, Dylan White is coming off from defeat. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he had a fight after getting his ass, dropped by Luke Fury. But that was the best contender to bring out the fire, and Anthony Joshua to prepare him for somebody that can really bring it to him. And Deontay Wilder, should these proposals for fighting for the Saudis become a reality. But Robert Helenius, it depends, right? Because Robert Helenius looked very adept at fighting when he fought what's the Polish kid's name? Babyface assassin.
But Kaunaki?
Kavnaki, yeah. That guy looked like he could actually fight somebody, right? Good, but then you see him take the very first punch against his stablemate.
Kaunaki is terrible.
Yeah, but he took the very first punch by his stablemate Deontay Wilder, and he fell. and that's not the guy that we need Anthony Joshua to fight. Maybe Anthony Joshua would love nothing more than fight Hellenius, because yeah, he can probably envision him knocking him out, even as tentative as he looked. But something tells me that we might see a a more competitive fight than we expect against Hellenius, because it depends on whether Anthony Joshua believes in himself. Uh, Hellenius doesn't have to worry about the pressure of convincing people that he's still a contender. It's Anthony Joshua that has to overcome that hump, and unfortunately, he's not gonna be able to fight that guy that would be able to bring a smiles to our face and allow him to be confident enough to take on somebody in Wilder, now that Dylan White tested positive for some kind of a stimulant. But whatever. At least it's not pay-per-view.
All right, Larry Liston said, wait, yeah, did you say, yeah, White, although limited, is a decently popular guy in the UK. They fought in the amateurs as well, where Dylan beat him. Hellenius got KO'd by Gerald Washington. And then he said, I think they should put Joe Cosimano in there instead of Hellenius. He just beat Kovnacki, and New York Italian. He's all right, but nothing special. Yeah, Joe Cosimano, he fought on whose undercard? I just seen him fight Kovnacki, and bro, Kovnacki is so chinny. It went unanimous, right? This fight went unanimous. I think he should have. I'm gonna check right now.
Nah. Joe Cosimano actually knocked
him out.
Or okay. No, I think he dropped him, and then they kept fighting.
They stopped the fight, right?
And then the ref stopped the fight.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah, yeah, bro. I was like, man, he couldn't put him away, and I was like getting kind of frustrated with Joe. I was like, man, because I was like betting on him, and then I was getting a little
stamina problem.
Yeah, I was getting stressed out.
That was a good fight. That was a fun fight.
Yeah,
fun fight for sure.
I don't know why, but it's fun watching other people get tired. They look like they're fighting in their dreams. But anyways, I do like good performances as well. But something about those heavy breathers.
Yeah, anything could happen with a heavy breather.
Yeah.
I hope they're just rumors, though. I hope he doesn't really fight Robert Hellenius. I hope it's Joe Cosimano. Robert Hellenius, I don't think brings. I mean, he's got to be like 6'9" as well, right? Like height wise, he's tall dude.
Yeah, he looked kind of like up there with Wilder, bro.
Yeah, so I guess like height wise, it wouldn't make sense. I know Joe Cosimano's pretty tall too. He's like 6'4", 6'5".
Mm-hmm. I'm checking right now.
I don't know. That's a very sucky situation for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom to be in when they're trying to make a big fight in the UK and build some momentum, and then Dylan White pops dirty. I'm not a big fan of Dylan White. I know they got a good little rivalry going. I just never really liked his talent, coupled with the fact that he's being a drug cheat. I don't understand how it's opportunity after opportunity, and he don't want to. Eddie Hearn doesn't want to have that same type of sentimental feeling that he has for White on, let's say, Cheeseburger Baby Face Davis, or what was that?
Big Baby.
Yeah, Baby Miller.
Big Baby
It's
Miller.
Funny how he gives Dylan White, maybe because it's his fellow countryman or whatever, it's opportunity after opportunity. But when it comes down to Cheeseburger Miller, he's just like, you're disgusting. I hate you.
Oh, look at this. So, these are some of the options, because they were already apparently under the as part of the undercard. Filip Hrgovic, who was set to fight Dempsey McKean, is already on the undercard. Another possibility is gatekeeper Derek Chisora, who was also on the undercard against Gerald Washington. So those are very realistic names, because if I'm not mistaken,
that's his best friend, though.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that means all of those fighters are ready to fight this weekend. All of them have been cleared to fight, and coincidentally enough, they're right there in the same venue. And this is not new. I believe Matchroom had something similar occur to them. if not mistaken, this year or within the last 12 months, where they just something happened with the last minute issue, I believe, an injury, and then they just elevated one guy to the position of the contender for the main event, and that's what happened. So those are other two realistic names right there. Even Derek Chisora. What do you guys say about Derek Chisora? Another guy who's just the equivalent of Gabe Rosado, just a great warrior, but definitely shop worn, and very, very exciting fighter, but yet does not do anything for Anthony Joshua's career, except maybe allow him another valid, exciting win.
I like Derek Chisora. Chisora would bring more of an animal instinct based on how he fights, unless he takes it easy because he doesn't want to beat up his homie Joshua. But if they were to get it on, like Joshua's gonna have to bite down on his mouthpiece and he's gonna dig hard. Like I'm talking about like a Klitschko-like performance. Because Derek Chisora, he brings it. Now he might lose, like you said, he's equivalent to a Gabe Rosado, but that motherfucker fights and he's fun.
Yep.
He's
very fun.
Usyk, his toughest fight at heavyweight. So Derek's got dog in him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would like to see that fight. I know more than likely he won't fight him because, like I said, he's been a big support.
Yeah, that's his boy right there. I don't think
that's his boy. Like he was like, man, he was pissed off that they even put Andy Ruiz in the first time up there with Joshua because he was like, man, all those fucking belts went over to USA and shit. He was really agitated and really angered and angry at Eddie Hearn. But I could see him taking over and fighting El Gallo Negro. What's that dude's name?
Who? El Gallo Negro. Oh, Gerald. No, that's not
him. Gerald Washington.
Is that him?
I know he's willing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he'll be down to fight him. But again, is he willing to take an opponent from his homie in Chisora and kind of leave Chisora without a payday? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It would be nice also, like, if Chisora is my friend, let's just say, let's make money together and let's fight.
Exactly.
I don't think they look at it like that because, man, that's some heavyweight punches. And, how good of a friend can you be if you fucking knock me out,
Wilder has done that for two of his buddies, though. Wilder did it for Furry.
But Wilder had, he's actually able to box with them, and he can actually, I was gonna say he could last the whole fight, but he has fucking issues going throughout the whole fight, like with his wind and shit. But yeah, man, you're saying Chisora is like a cleaner fighter. Like Germ said, I think they should fight like out of love, like they should, make money together. Yeah, they should make that happen, man. Chisora can be trusted. He's not like Dylan White, getting fucking that's another factor. He can be trusted instead of Dylan White. Because that fool's fucking making Eddie Hearn, he's making Eddie Hearn look bad. And
it's funny that it always happens to the matchroom fighters. The week of is when everything comes to the fore. It's revealed that they've been they've been doping. Like, I don't know if they leave it to the end to disrupt the business of the fight last second, like if it's almost a personal thing against Edward Hearn or otherwise. But that happened the same way with Conor Benn. If not mistaken, 2-3 days before the fight, there he was having to explain himself for why he tested positive for some kind of
steroid
fertility, fertility drug, some fertility drug. So yeah, it always happens to Hearn. Now, I'm not too sure what Hearn can do about it.
Well, it happens to Hearn because Hearn is not a great matchmaker. Like he chooses. He thinks he finds an exploit. I just overall don't think Eddie Hearn is a great promoter. I love his interviews that he does on IFC. Eddie Hearn puts on a great smile, and his interviews are very entertaining and very fun. He makes himself accessible. That's one of the things that I love about Eddie Hearn. But in terms of, like, look at it.
I feel like he ignores the X and O's.
He always has a fighter that's favored, whether it's like not Steve Sparks, but Gary the Diva Coley. He got beat by a dude that Sandro Martin just completely washed. We don't really know how to correct matchmake, even with Connor Benn and Dylan White. Like these guys have asterisks all over the names, and he chooses them up in the forefront. Every prospect that Eddie Hearn has had has gotten upsetted once in their whole career. Like if you just go back down, I just think when it comes down to matchmaking wise, and they don't really live up to their banner of match room. Eddie Hearn is probably the best promoter to like read cards and like promote. Like he's a great he can sell. You know, if you gave him a pen, he'd be able to fucking sell it to you. But in
Mm.
terms of really understanding boxing aspect of the whole itself, I don't know.
You really don't hear like Americans test popping, right? Like here and there you hear about it, but you hear nothing but UK fighters or Mexican fighters popping.
Well, the PBC is notorious for not testing under VADA. So, if we're going to be, talking about PBC, apparently these Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence were reported to have partaken in Nevada testing for their fight. So, and I don't know why they do that. Like, I don't know if nobody cares or maybe, I don't know. But that's one thing that I really don't like about that. I don't really care if they. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want everybody to be a clean and wholesome fighter. But of course, knowing otherwise, I would assume that a lot of people have taken some type of product to enhance their performance, especially under a lack of oversight, like the PBC tends to do. That is one of my gripes. And the other one, of course, is that for whatever reason or another, the PBC never plays the national anthem at fights. Now, tell me, okay, that's relevant. I know we're here to fight, not to hear people sing a country's anthem, but it doesn't matter. For the big events, it's just been a tradition to open up the ceremony by singing the country's respective national anthem. And for whatever reason or another, from the little fights to the biggest ones, they just don't do that. So the PBC has been doing a great job this year at putting up fights, but they sure ain't doing it in the traditional fashion, nor the most forthcoming. But whatever, whatever.
Yeah, I look at trends, man. When I look at fighters and they keep popping, because I mean, like I know I said UK and Mexican fighters, but it's really like it depends who we're talking about, because it's all about trends. Like you see, I had him in my mind right now. Connor Benn, dude, like he's been getting bigger and bigger throughout the years. Like noticeably bigger. And then he pops. And it's like, bro, like it was pretty obvious that you're cheating and you're able to move up in weight without ease. Looking that ripped, it's like, nah, man. You pop, you
Mm,
fucking cheater, And then same with Dylan White, dude. It's a pattern with him, and he's saying the same thing he said the first time he got caught. Uh, like I can prove that I'm innocent, and it's like, bro, like why you putting out this fucking this plain
yeah.
fucking apology, or I don't know like what it is he was trying to say, but it looked really suspicious,
Oh.
not really a good job of covering it up, so um, I don't know, man. These guys just don't want to be clean. Maybe it's an intimidation factor on Americans, maybe. I don't know, because um, yeah, these fools keep popping. It's not a good look for Eddie. I'm reading
Yeah.
comments because I'm like, what's Ukad? But that's that's Spada for UK. But so I need to look up on how they do their business on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, so like Larry Liston's pointing out a lot of I don't know if you guys have been reading the comments, but
Yeah, I've been reading that
making
too.
a lot of valid points. He
Yeah.
goes, maybe it has something to do with the time period UCAT and testing. Look, Eddie Hearn right now, ever since he got the zone $1 billion deal, when he took Joshua from the UK, essentially, there was a lot of backlash, and not just from his previous employer, Sky, right, the network, everybody. took a big hit with the money that they. Because I look, this goes back all the way back to Joshua's days when he won the Olympic gold medal over there at the 2012 London. They were looking to build a big scene in the UK, right? Now, this is a conspiracy, but I believe it to be true. So when Erislandy Savon, when he fought Joshua for the gold, he beat Joshua. But because he was 6'6", good looking, and he had some momentum and he was popular, they knew that they can bring in a machine with Eddie Hearn, promote Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, and Anthony Joshua all together all at once. Once Joshua became that gold medal poster child, great smile, he can speak well, he looks like a Greek god type of thing. And Eddie Hearn parted ways with Sky, and they went over to DAZN and tried to have the US take over or whatever, lingo that they had going on. That market of the UK started like dwindling down. Like there was no big events happening. Eddie Hearn kept focusing on everywhere else but the UK. A lot of people in like Eddie Hearn social media or IFL TV in the comments, they were like, "Oh, make some big fights happen over here." So everybody from hotels to networks, not only did they lose that pay-per-view money, so did UCAD and the BBOC and all these network deals. Eddie Hearn parted ways with that. So they're gunning for Eddie Hearn, and every single time they can popularize or scrutinize his name or throw his name in the dirt alongside with their fighters, that's what they're gonna do. They're out for blood. So yeah, I think right now Eddie Hearn, it's not gonna look nice for him because they're salty, and I would be too if I helped build Anthony Joshua with commercial deals, making them hundreds of millions of dollars, giving them a gold medal, paying off all these judges and revs, so we can build that big fighter that we need. I think that's why AJ is a robot. I just think not only is his fighting style, but there was a machine of this influence, right? This sphere of influence to popularize the UK market scene alongside Eddie Hearn, right, and Joshua. And once they left, now it's get back, right? You see it with Ben Shalom. They're trying to do that deal with him. They're trying to popularize the UK market with a new young promoter with Sky all over, but they don't really have that fighter that they could push up in the forefront, right? So he's got to piggyback off maybe signing Dylan White or an older Kilbrook versus Amir Khan. So they're trying to bring back that scene. But anyway, I kind of deviated from the question. I don't want to say everything is corrupt, but when money talks, money talks. So same thing with Victor Conte, knowing the cycling systems, Avada, and the methods. His snack product probably making these fighters juice. Again, like Larry Liston says, look at Wilder, he gained 30 pounds a month. Look at David Benavidez, the resurgence of Yordenis Ugas, right? These guys know the cycling system. They know the machine, right? Because they're the ones writing the algorithm.
But look at Devin Haney. He's struggling,
Nah, you're good, bro. Go ahead. Man, I swear you guys always cut me off, Ron. I'm like, man, I'm going to mute myself.
No, that's true, though. That's true because he brought up a good point. What about Haney? If not mistaken, he's a snack fighter. And he's struggling, and he's not,
I feel like as a fighter, all that juicing stuff, you can only do so much. It does help, but eventually there's a phrase like you can't play God, like you can't play God. You're gonna it's gonna catch up to you. The mind follows the body. It's not going to. Yeah, man, it's not. Yeah.
So let me ask you, gentlemen, since both of you guys have fighting pasts, you guys know the sport, you guys have participated in it. Would you gentlemen be down to experiment by taking snack products?
Is this? I don't even know what the fuck it is.
Neither do, but that's why I'm asking, because they sure promote it, and depending on they sell them. They're legal. Snack products are legal. But you can purchase them. I guess it's like a regimen of certain energetic products, perhaps some kind of protein, weight cutting agents. Who knows what they are? But I do have progeny that do fight, of course, and I've considered, you know, purchasing snack for my son. Uh, but because I don't know what it is, and because there is that association of notoriety accompanied by Victor Conte and his company, I have stayed away from it. But would you two gentlemen, since you guys are much more active and athletic than myself, would you gentlemen have any issues with perhaps experimenting a couple of months with snack products?
Maybe if I was like about to fight, I'll try it out, mess around.
What about for health? Do you think it's only for
None,
athletic performance?
uh, not like I just feel like it's nothing different than like what Larry was saying. It actually like helps your your the water, it helps you water everything out. Like it turns everything into diuretic, and it pretty much you shit everything out. But I feel like that's not healthy. It depends what type of shape you're in.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're not like have good cardio, I just feel like it's like you need to be fucking eating a little better, or like I'm hearing my echoes kind of throwing me off.
Profide, proglycosin, ZMA5, hypozygen, Vitalize, Expedite. All of these are names for snack products, whatever it is that they are. $194.95 in stock, added to your cart.
Oh yeah, let me mention Devin Haney, since you sure don't want to talk since I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Devin, I'm comparing him to Shakur, since now they're in the same weight class. He, he's struggling to make the weight, obviously,
Mm,
but he's actually like 2.5 years younger than Shakur. So he's actually like growing, like Shakur's already grown up to what he's supposed
yeah.
to be as a man. Devin's
Hmm.
probably like still getting some inches, or like and I'm saying not height, I'm saying like extremities, like his bones or something, like he's getting that his man strength in it finally. I think that's what they mean when they say man strength, when everything is fully developed on your body and you have not 1 inch to grow. um but I feel like he barely peaked out, and I feel like his body's just like fiending for like a bit like more fluids. um so yeah, he just wants to yeah, I see him moving up, but he's doing the snack stuff, and that snack product can only do so much. Your body's changing, but the snack product isn't. So
Hmm. You know, speaking about now that you brought up Devin Haney, I think Devin Haney should already move up to 140. The next fight that they're pondering, which is of course uh Regis Prograd, that's the fight that I want to see, because I think Devin Haney has done everything at 135 that he needs to do, including allow the opportunity for a fighter to take his belts, to become a one fight undisputed champion. He defended against Lomachenko, which is probably one of the most creditable fighters at 135. He defended his undisputed. He should move on. He should vacate all those belts, let 8 fighters fight for all 4 of them, which would allow us, the fans, to see some of these fighters that we've been wanting to see pit against each other. That'd be the greatest thing. But I would hate it if, let's say, the next person should fight Devin Haney. Let's assume that would be somebody like Shakur Stevens, and he beats him, and he becomes undisputed by beating one man.
mhm.
I don't find much to value in the quick undisputed routes. I think that would make Shakur Stevens the fastest undisputed fighter, besides who's the guy who beat Bernard Hopkins. Um, there was this one fighter that beat Bernard Hopkins to become undisputed, just off of one fight, and from that, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's not the way to become undisputed. The more champions you beat, the better it is for us fans, and the more credit you should get in general. But I think once you become undisputed, you should defend once, I guess, just for the symbolic opportunity to create a lineage or a lineal champion, ring belt holder and whatnot, and then drop all the belts and let everybody just pick them up through fights. But yeah, Joe Kasagi was a guy. Are you sure?
Taylor.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. He was a good fighter. I liked him, but really, like that's yeah. And B Hop has always been a fighter that I don't know what you guys think about B Hop. I know Dirty Fighter and Neo, the tricks and whatnot, but that's a great fighter. Crafty, he knew everything. He took that one first loss to start off his career, and he made a complete run of who knows how many fights after that, beating some of the greatest names in there. So that somebody comes over here and just beats him in one fight and takes all of his belts. It's just something that is so discrediting, so frustrating, really. But yeah, Devin Haney should just fight Regis Prograis, and Shakur Stevens should just pick up one of the belts on the vacancy, fighting somebody, not just handed the belt, not like Paul Butler did with Inuya. Fight somebody for it. But the sanctioning body still just granted to whoever has the promotional company and power behind them.
Yeah, no, what's it called? WBC's they're actually planning on ordering Shakur to fight Loma. So that's going to happen at 135, maybe, I believe. They still got to negotiate. But that would be a good fight. I want to see that one. And Devin's going to fight Regis. I see Regis dropping him. But then you never know how Devin's going to carry that weight at 140. So
Lomachenko doesn't want that fight because the way he sees it, he won the fight against Devin Haney, and he deserves an immediate rematch, which was never part of the contract because the dummy never believes in immediate rematches, or at least signing him as part of a contract terminology.
Yeah. No, they what's it called? WBC is gonna allow Devin to keep all the belts at 135, so they can go back to that, But I don't know. It wouldn't make sense for Devin to go up and down. I think when he's up, he's gonna stay up, but I don't know. They just declared him champion in recess, so he better hurry up and turn around, beat Regis, and come back down. I mean, what do you think? Do you think the fight holds value still if he loses to Regis? That's what I would think. I'm like, man, they have so much history. I think it mellows it out a little bit, and just knowing that they're not the best, it just wouldn't be as big of a fight anymore. But yeah, that's why we gotta hope for Devin to win, because I want to see those two guys go at it down the line.
I would love for them to. Yeah, I would love for them to do that. Some of the best fights have been with fighters that have a loss or two under the belt. And I just think about Diego Corrales versus Castillo after both of them lost to that's debatable whether or not Castillo lost to Mayweather, but still, when both of them were pit against each other, man, that was the most spectacular fight I've ever seen. In fact, it's my favorite fight of all time. But it almost seems like you can always come back and fight a fight that you didn't take, and it will still have some level of intrigue, whether you have a loss or not. It's just maybe it won't sell as much because a lot of us fans do tend to think that an O means that you're great instead
Yo,
of,
hold
let's
on, guys.
say,
You guys are missing the chat, man. And Mr. Larry Liston here is providing a lot of good insight that you guys keep ignoring. So first and foremost, he goes, "How come both Haney and Charlo are allowed to move up and still keep their belts?" That's what I don't understand. I can see why they did it for Canelo because he's a megastar, but it seems like there's some American privilege going on. I don't know why Williams, Zepeda, Loma, or Shakur can't get a belt each and then go ahead and do those fights. Same with Jamel with Tim Su. Should have had an opportunity at least to get a couple of the belts. Right. I don't really understand it either. Even when it comes down to one of the more credible sanctioning bodies, the IBF, when Joe Cordina knocked out that Japanese fighter with, I think in the first round or the second round,
second round.
he immediately relinquishes his belt off a hand injury. And mind you, George Cordina came back and then fought for that same belt against Rakimov in an amazing bar burner fight in the beginning of the year. But Jermell Charlo doesn't get stripped or doesn't vacate his belt for the IBF. No, it's a lack of consistency that I don't like amongst the fans and the sanctioning bodies. That again, even if you want to say, well, Canelo's a megastar. Look at Jermall Charlo. He hasn't fought in 2 years.
And he's not a megastar.
And not a megastar. And he still holds on to the WBC belt, right? Where guys like Carlos Adames has to fight tough fights after tough fights. And he's still being named interim champion. This is what I was talking about earlier, where these sanctioning bodies just kind of right with their own, like go with whatever the fuck they want to do, right? How is Jermall a champion still without defending it or even having a fight at all for 2 years? But that same token, Devin Haney can almost get stripped by the WBC and then give that belt for Shakur. And who's Shakur going to fight that for? So there's a lot of, it goes back to when I realized that the WBC, when they made that franchise title, what was that franchise belt for? What was it for? Because I feel it only benefited them in two situations. One is making Canelo a franchise belt where Canelo doesn't have to fight his mandatory and he can fluctuate up in weight. But what about Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko? It created an asterisk. And this is what I talked about in the beginning of the show, where if I'm some of these fighters, I'm suing these companies because Teofimo Lopez is undisputed in my book. And
he should be
undisputed. Is not only he should be, is he is. Look at how they did Josh Taylor. They don't strip Jermell Charlo after a year, but they do strip Josh Taylor. Right?
This is a solid subject.
Oh, they stripped them. They stripped them of 3 belts in a matter of a year.
In less than a year. But these tokens of these other fighters, they get to maintain it. Look, Teofimo Lopez has been shafted by the system. Check this out.
And so did Taylor.
When he beat Lomachenko, Loma had the belt. But the WBC kind of stripped him and made him a franchise belt and emailed it to Devin Haney. That's where hence the name comes, right? The email champ. Oh, he's an email champ. It's because that's essentially what happened. But that lived an asterisk on Teofimo's name or the victor of that fight, which we ended up now knowing that it was Teofimo. Now Teofimo is not undisputed because he didn't fight Devin Haney. Right. Okay, so Teo beats Lomachenko, and then even going up to 140, he had a controversial decision versus Sandro Martin, but he still beat Josh Taylor. And all these sanctioning bodies just out of nowhere, oh, Josh has to vacate. Oh, he's not fighting Jack Catterall, but he still retains the WBO, but he loses the WBC, IBF, and the WBA. And all he is lineal, and all he is Ring Magazine and WBO, and that's all Teofimo gets. You see what I'm saying? I don't understand. I really can't answer your questions, Larry, because I'm confused about how these sanctioning bodies go about their business as well. Yeah. I don't understand. I know that there's favoritism. I know that there's politics that go at play. I know Teo doesn't get along, and he tends to be very vocal and says things that rub people the wrong way. But by that same notion, I don't understand why these fighters don't get together and sue him and sue these sanctioning bodies. If I'm Teo, I'm suing the WBC for making that franchise title and then all of a sudden that franchise title no longer exists. I need to see some consistency. I want them to fight back. Kind of like how these fighters always try to buy out of their and make these promoters seem like they're the devils because they signed the contract. What about these sanctioning bodies that have been here for like the past 50, 40 years or since the foundation of boxing, but get to manipulate any rules and bylaws that they want, and then you have to adhere to what we fucking write and what we say without impunity. Like there's no repercussions for these people. Anyway, you guys gotta like read the chat, man. Larry, listen, dropping you guys some gems and informing you about Smars and you know.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I apologize. It's just that I'm driving, so I can't really do much. I could just
you be on the phone to drive, man. You know, hands free.
Yeah, but I guess I guess the only thing that we can say, Mr. Liston, is this: the charade of these sanctioning bodies upholding any sanctity and official duties to the sport has gone out the window, and they are now displaying for the world to see what they really are about, which is a business. Every single angle of this sport is a business, from the promoter to the managers to the fighters themselves. It's all a business, and the only ones that we think that we hope to see something besides the business angle is us fans. But it really is a business more so than a sport. And if you can slip a person a brown bag with enough money and just give them a little wink or a nudge, that's enough to appease some of these sanctioning bodies, because there really is no oversight. There is no federal oversight, nobody to stop them from operating in any way besides trying to pursue the most bucks, the most greenbacks. So they don't even feint themselves anymore to be a reputable organization as much as a capitalist venture. So no, this is all business, and I do agree there's a lot of American favoritism at the moment, probably because they slipped the most money under and the brown bag under the table.
Yeah, man, I got an example. So in the WBA rankings on the lightweight division, in the 140 division, there's this dude named O'Hara Davies, right? He was actually threatening the WBA and suing them if he didn't get an opportunity against Rolly. I'm not sure if you heard about this, Ricardo, but yeah, O'Hara Davies was actually getting ready to sue the WBA because Ismael Barroso is ranked number 3, and he actually got the opportunity before he did to fight for that belt against Rolly. So that's another great example right there. You have Kenneth Sims at number 2 right there, by the way, too. So it's like that dude, in my opinion, is like the number 1 guy right there. But you got Ryan Garcia at 6. But anyways, yeah, O'Hara Davies, bro. I think he should have been the one that got the opportunity, but it's just one of those things. They probably, I don't know what it is, bro. Like Ismael they probably seen him as a beatable dude, honestly. Like O'Hara Davies lost to Josh Taylor, so I don't know. Like that's a good loss right there. But I remember this dude coming up actually, and I thought he was like the shit, honestly. And he didn't really pan out to be that guy, but I know he'll beat fucking Rolly. I know he'll beat.
I agree.
And that's probably what they're looking at right there, because Rolly ain't beating Kenneth and O'Hara, like, yeah. So it's really weird, bro. How they work and how they favor Rolly, bro, and he's just putting asses in seats.
So Larry Liston, that's Larry Liston's opinion is that Teofimo Lopez is the best fighter at 140. Now, there is some truth to that. That is not a completely disagreeable notion. But
let me read Larry Liston's last 2 comments, or last 3 comments. The IBF scandal in early 2000s exposed how sanctioning bodies are getting money under the table for certain fighters to be ranked higher than others. And he pretty much agreed with that what I just said. They were supposed to do a purse bid. Oh, okay, purse bid for Artur Davies, but Rolly claimed he had an eye injury. That's right. And the purse bid was extended so they can pay O'Hara step aside money. Oh,
Uh-huh.
all right.
Just prolonging the fight, keeping Davies on a
Mhm.
long layoff so that he could be ill prepared for the day that should they
Yeah,
stand up to themselves for themselves and demand that fight, that he be long rested and
let me
give
leave.
Rolly an opportunity.
Let me read the last one. There is no money in that fifth or in that fight for the PBC. They want to make Ryan versus Rolly for the 140 belt, and O'Hara is the side piece who will ruin their financial plans. Yep, and that's
Hmm.
fucking true right there,
That
man.
is true. That is true.
It's a money thing, man. If you put asses in seats, they will move you up, and as long as you're winning, you're you're in favor. You know,
And O'Hara Davies, I think O'Hara Davies said he'd take him to court if they
yeah,
barred him of the opportunity. So that's the only reason. And here's the thing, though, if I'm not mistaken, I think he most recently got signed by Matchroom. So now they have the
And
that
by Golden
political
Boy.
machine. Yeah, I think now they have that
He signed with
strong
Golden Boy.
financial backing.
you sound kind of far, Ricardo.
He signed with Golden Boy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, just like a week or two, right?
Yes, sir.
So now they have
Everything y'all
that machine.
Jones.
They have that machine to make sure that that happens. So now we have uh they have Ryan Garcia and O'Hara Davies on the same side. Interesting maneuvering, actually quite genius on the I should not say that, on Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah. We're
One of
about to
those.
shit on him, bro. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that, especially yeah, no, but yeah, that's a great maneuver by the Golden Boy. That is great maneuvering.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's a great move right there. I want to see that Rolly fight with Ryan though. Um, I just want to see it, but that's the thing. Like, I guess I have to put my foot down and do and want what's best for boxing. Like as a boxing fan, like that's the only way we're gonna get the best of the best fighting. Like you can't really. They're part of the equation, man. And if you got a fucking variable that doesn't know who he is, it's gonna fuck up the whole equation. We want the best fighting the best, and this
Yeah.
doesn't help that process. That's why I want Bivol and Beterbiev. That's 1 and 2 right there. I like boxing in order. Um, yeah, that's good for boxing.
Incredible, because like you said, O'Hara Davies has great favorable odds against fighting Rolando Romero. So then he takes that belt, and guess who he has to fight next? Ryan Garcia. An in-house fight for pay-per-view, and likely a fight. Well, that's not an easy win for Ryan Garcia either. I mean, O'Hara Davies is quite a competitor, and in fact, the only question right there would be, what is Ryan Garcia gonna look like under the tutelage of Derek James?
Yeah, that's another variable right there. That's another variable. Yeah, man.
But that's gonna take some time, Drew. That's gonna take some time because Ryan Garcia is gonna have to have a fight before that, because they still have to negotiate that fight. Make sure that O'Hara Davies stands up for himself and says, "Nope, I have to fight Rolando Romero. Vacate or fight me, and then make that money, or get the belt passed over to him. Make it an in-house fight." And that's the best case scenario, that Rolando Romero chooses to let go of the belt to allow O'Hara Davies to fight Ryan Garcia without that long of a layoff. But I would think we've never seen Ryan Garcia under Derek James, so we saw how reluctant a fighter Anthony Joshua was under Derrick James for his very first fight. We don't know what kind of instructions he's telling him. Maybe he's telling them the same thing that apparently he told Anthony Joshua, which is right now we just have to fight. Right now we just need to win. That's all we're trying to do right now. Just win. Don't try and be the hero. Don't go out there for bro. Just win. And if he's going off like that, then O'Hara Davies might actually have a great chance, because Ryan Garcia might just want to be on the defensive, trying to just make sure that he gets that mental victory first for to appease whatever inner demons he might have after his very first loss. But that's going to be a very interesting set of circumstances now that Golden Boy meddled into those affairs.
Let me read this last comment right here. I love the Rolly versus Ryan fight. Corruption aside, those guys both know how to talk smack, and Ryan has much more potential. That fight can do 600K pay-per-view buys. Hell, it might do more than Spence and Bud. Man, honestly, I agree, because nowadays these kids know more about Ryan than they did about Spence. And they probably still know more about Ryan. They probably didn't even hear about Spence this past weekend. You know, like maybe heard the name, not the face, but you know, the kids are on Ryan Garcia right now. You know, he did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys with Tank. So this dude spits money, man. You know, he shits money. He's fucking. He's an attraction, you know. So
but we can't.
It's a good fusion of hype, you know. Kids are going to be more interested in what they say than what they do. Honestly, like they're going to be like, the headlines are going to be about what they tell each other, the fucking all that, dude. And we're going to be looking at the X's and O's and be like, dude, this is a horrible fight, you know, you know. So. Yeah,
but in the one hand we can't. In the one hand we can't be, let's say, condoning boxing as a way to sell pay-per-views and make money off of it, and then on the other hand criticizing the sanctioning bodies from taking the sport and doing the same thing. We have to stand. We have to, as fans, stand firm on what it is that we want, and we don't want the shenanigans. We don't want to fight just because they can sell it to us and because these guys can talk smack. We want them to beat each other to smack. That's what we want. We want people to climb up the ranks by fighting, not by talking themselves into fights. We don't need no more fights where the ploy that they get us with is the fact that these guys are hilarious or they say antagonistic things to each other. No. We want antagonistic actions towards each other. So I'm not really too fond of pay-per-views solely because the buildup is going to be something that is entertaining, although I do see much value to that. I more value the aggression that gets a fighter there, and I'll pay top dollar to fight to watch people fight because they climbed up the ranks, they got there because of the excitement, not so much because their combos are something that will bring a smile or a laugh to my face, you see.
Mm-hmm. And I think that all starts with us as boxing fans, you know, like that's why these outlets support certain fights, you know, at least the real outlets, you know, that want the real fights to happen, because now they just want clicks and all this shit. So I think it all starts with us. You know, we gotta demand what's right, you know, demand the right direction for boxing. Don't mind if it never happens, but shit. Oh yeah, and if it does happen, I'll ask my man's right here, Ricardo, if I can go to his house. You know what I mean? But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, no, yeah, I hope that. Well, look, if Rolly walks around this world and this earth like he's a champion, that's the problem.
That's a huge problem.
Look, Ismael Barroso is a 40-year-old man. 40-year-old man. This dude we never heard of, dude. And he knocked down and was winning 7 out of 9 rounds against Rolly. And the powers that be, or Tony Weeks, or maybe someone slipped them a note, any little moment of slippage of Barroso, they stopped the fight.
Five
I
punch
don't care
flurry of
about Ryan. I don't care about Rolly enough for them to ever fight on pay-per-view. That's not a pay-per-view fight. And those guys, neither of those two are champions. You see? And Ismael Barroso, going back to him, that's a robbery.
yeah.
That's a robbery right in our face. And we can't or don't do nothing about it. So until they right the wrong, until they rematch Ismael Barroso, I'm not saying O'Hara Davis to fight Ismael Barroso. That's fine. But I'm talking about Rolly and Barroso all over again. But even if they were to rematch, right? People should be petitioning that Ismael Barroso be a champion right now. Because again, even if he were to rematch Rolly, who's to say Rolly doesn't study that 9 rounds, make his adjustments, and then he knocks him out? There's this beautiful thing in this world called the element of surprise. Or hell, when somebody surprises you, kind of like Anthony Joshua got surprised by Andy Ruiz. It's not supposed to happen. Ismael Barroso wasn't even supposed to win a round, let alone drop Rolly. But he was. Now you take out that element of surprise. Now maybe Rolly takes this dude serious. Maybe he trains and makes the adjustment. Maybe he hires a better trainer than Bullet and knocks out Barroso. So again, it's not whether they even rematch. It's about stripping Rolly, who's not even he don't even have his hand injured, and giving that belt to Barroso and have Barroso defend it against O'Hara Davis or Orion Garcia. That should be the right thing to do, because that is not Rolly versus Ryan. That should not even be a thing right now. I mean, if we go back to Josh Taylor being stripped of his belts, that was a vacated belt that Rolly, I don't even know how he is even in line for fighting for that belt. This the whole thing is a problem. And again, this goes back to how can certain fighters hold on to a belt while others get stripped instantaneously. This goes down to how even Rolly gets knocked out by Tank Davis, but he gets rewarded as if he was like a sacrificial lamb to bolster up the pay-per-view sales for Tank. And he gets in line to fight for a vacated belt. Like, was it like Rolly was not even a top 10 fighter? He's like 30 in the world. Like, he could get beat by
that's even crazy. That's crazy too.
The champion. This is disgusting when some guys work their ass off, like Mauricio Herrera, right? When and I thought he upsetted Jose Benavidez Jr. and Danny Garcia, and then you don't really hear about him, but his last fight is him getting knocked out by Virgil Ortiz. That's the road that Ismael Barroso is going through, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe he fights again, maybe he fights O'Hara Davis. O'Hara Davis knocks him out. That'll be like, well, he's not even supposed to be a champion anyway. But that night he was a champion. That night he rose to the occasion and knocked out and knocked down Rolly and beat him for 7 out of 9 rounds. That night he was that dude.
Yeah.
Now whether that was on the line, it don't matter. For Barroso, he probably earned it the hard way. Probably fought a lot of obscure. I haven't checked out his box rec, but he probably fought a lot of obscure dudes just to get into that position. But Rolly right here gets to play doctor. Oh, my hand hurts. Oh, I jammed up my pinky throwing a flag football. I was trying to take away the flag from the dude's hip, and I fucking jammed it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate.
Man, I'm gonna go on mute. It's terrible.
Look, the story of a man that nobody gave any credit to, that people laughed about him being 40-year-old man. Likely way older than that. His papers are probably written erroneously, and he's probably much older than that. Look at this guy. He's so old. He's somebody's grandpa. He's fighting Rolly Romero. What shots can we give him? That guy should have taken that fight. But there was 3 more rounds to go. But in the direction that it was going, it was a clear, convincing win for Barroso. And we would have had an underdog story. An underdog story like what is it, Jenny? An underdog story like the kind that we fans should live the day to see. The underdog story is one of the greatest stories that that boxing can offer us, and we were robbed of that because one, he wasn't a known name. Two, he wasn't charismatic. He's not funny. He didn't really bring any character or personality to the fight.
Are you talking about Ismail? Or also? You cut
Rolando
out.
Romero.
Or
Oh, I
Rolando.
apologize. Uh,
Yeah,
so
but
what I'm saying,
check this out, Germ. Yeah. Maybe he's a 40-year-old man. Maybe he doesn't look. He looks like a jackal, or maybe he's ugly. It doesn't matter. The point is, we speak fist, and we speak boxing.
exactly.
And when it came down to putting his heart, blood, and sweat and tears in
Yeah.
that ring, he beat a 25-year-old in Rolly Romero, and they stripped him of that identity, bro. They stripped him of that glory. Like you
Yeah.
talk about only having one shot, that Eminem lyrics, right? That was his moment, bro.
Yeah,
Like, don't
exactly.
get me wrong, Devin and Loma, that was probably a robbery too. But nobody
Wow.
feels that pain of Loma crying when I don't even know how the cameras were recording him at that moment.
It's
And
sad.
he just screams, it's sad. Now imagine a 40-year-old without the backing of a Lomachenko, right?
And looking for a job, probably like he needs, because he thought he was going to become a world champion, or who knows, bro. Like, there's a lot of pressures that come.
Maybe the next payday is against Ryan Garcia. And maybe
Wow.
they make $1 million. Imagine $1 million. Look, we talk about Amanda. I'm all over the place, but look at Amanda Serrano. She's a woman that's made amazing fucking fights.
Yeah.
And she was so happy and dancing before the Kenny Baylor fight, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get paid $1 million." She was jumping like hip hip hooray type of thing because she's earned it the hard way. Women's boxing is finally getting attention. Now imagine Barroso in that same position, boxing for 20 years of his life, 40 years fucking old, and you don't get that $1 million payday because the powers that be or the WBA or Tony Weeks made a bad judgment call, and they were like, "Nope, not today."
Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm telling you. They robbed us.
No one
They-
gets sued. Nothing. No overrule. There's no backing of fans for outcry to be like, "Yo, we gotta overrule this decision," like they were doing it for Loma and Devin Haney. Like that was a close fight. Rolly versus Barroso was not.
Well,
It
this
was
is
not a close fight. It was one-sided, and the 40-year-old man was fucking him up.
yeah. That's what they robbed us of. They robbed the fans of the underdog story. They robbed the man of life-changing circumstances, favorable life-changing circumstances, and yet somehow they want to still dangle the carrot before us and say, "Well, Rolly Romero is funnier, and he will put on a great build-up to this fight between an ill conceived champion in Rolly Romero versus a guy who just got knocked the hell out by 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 Gervonta Davis, looking like he's never fought a southpaw in his life, and that's what they want to sell us. I do agree with you. There has to be some kind of some consequence, some ramifications as a result of the shenanigans going on in the sport, but the only thing that we can do as fans is just protest. And when I say by protest, I don't mean, okay, just don't sponsor the pay-per-view and stream it instead. No, don't don't leave your morals and your principles behind and do something that you would
Right?
petition. You can petition, or you can just not watch it. Not watch it at all, and don't stream it, because streaming, they still have ways to track the streaming numbers. They know because of the what are those
The numbers, analytics.
the numbers, the analytics. Yes, the analytics, all of those things that go on behind the scenes, the million pay-per-view on those 2-minute PBC recap videos, all of those indicate a certain percentage of fight fans that wanted to see the fight, and a lot of them that already watched it. So the lesser those numbers are, the more people got to watch the fight, because nobody's gonna go watch a highlight if you seen the fight illegally. So we just don't watch those sports. We don't attend those sports. Go to your local boxing gym on a Saturday watch the local kids fight, go to the nearest the big city and catch some lower ranked fighters that they will never get to shine, but they're bleeding and busting each other up for entertainment, than to give another buck to these corrupt organizations that play us like puppets because we want to see the shenanigans that take place before a fight. Well, they're giving it to us. If we want so much of the controversy because of what these fighters say, then all of this corruption is also part of the controversy. In fact, who's to say that the fact that Rolly Romero got this belt in an ill-conceived fashion will not help to sell the fight even more so from all the people that want to see him lose? I mean, they could flip it in many ways and still make us pay for it. So I'm completely in disagreement with sponsoring these kind of fights, whether they're promising of entertainment and Schadenfreude or all the other hilarities behind it. I say no. Protest, petition, call your nearest the boxing boys, Ring IQ or whoever it is, talk smack. Tell them that you don't want to see these guys fight and live up to your word. Don't watch them. Don't stream them. The simple as that. That's what I do. It probably doesn't do anything at all at the long run, but still, we got to do something about it.
Yeah, man. I don't want. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll stream it. I'm not gonna put my own money on this shit. Yeah, WBA gotta really check itself because they're looking at Rolly and he has like horrible fucking presentation. Like he doesn't say the right things all the time. It's kind of similar, not similar to Tio, but Tio lacks presentation as well. But he's actually good at what he does. It's just his mind psyche fucks him up. They think I'm not sure what they think, but I think the public is hoping for Rolly to turn into like a Tio or something like that, and come back. But in reality, he's just athletic, bro. Like his IQ is lower than my sister. Like I was gonna say my sister's. He has low IQ, man. Like you got to think better than It's all about how you think in the sport.
So, Drew, let me ask you about what the contention that Larry Listen said. He says that, in his opinion, Teofimo Lopez is the best 140 fighter out there. Do you agree with that? Do you like when you imagine him across, let's say, Regis Prograis, Devin Haney, or boy, you already saw Josh Taylor.
It depends the style of fighter. Because Josh wasn't running like
Sandor Martin.
Sandor Martin's style gave him trouble. And fucking Josh, man, I was like so confident he was gonna just destroy him, just like everyone else. Man, I lost like $200 on this guy, man. Yeah, man.
How can you bet on a sport that we just talked about it for an hour is so corrupt? How can you bet any money on this sport, man?
Because I do my X's and O's, and just and I see that I see the holes, and it just, bro, shocked the whole game of boxing, bro. Like he truly did. But you can't just say what you say and then be looked at as a good guy just because you're a good boxer. Like I still think he lacks presentation. I think his mind is his own enemy. I feel like I don't know, he's going through some shit in his mind to where like he psychs himself out and then he gets pressured and then that's when he fights the best. And I don't know, and it could be, and I also think it's the style. Josh wasn't fucking. He was just standing there. He wasn't. He was there to get hit. Yeah, man. I didn't. Yeah, Josh. I mean, Tio shocked me. But the thing of Tio, he actually has a big amateur. He has a good amateur pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man. He's and his dad. Well, Tio and his dad might talk a lot of shit, but he's very, very talented.
Yeah.
No. I seen old videos of his dad talking hella shit, and Teal's just a little pup, and he's quiet talking to his dad's talking to Ellie setback, and Teal Jr. He's not even saying anything, like very unlike him, you know. So you see how he used to be like, and now he's all loud and shit. So I mean, he got that from his pops, obviously, but his pops really built.
Listen, bro, don't get into that shit, man.
What he say in the corner? Tell him when he said in the corner.
Oh man, don't buy into that shit. Yeah, bro. I fucking love that dude, bro.
Hey, Tio, what the fuck are you doing?
Motherfucker out already.
Oh my god!
Hey, watch this dude on the outside, bro. That shit was fucking funny, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You go on mute.
That's all, man. Oh man, Tio's. Yeah, his pops is crazy though.
Okay.
I think his pops really fucked him up too. He needs to kind of. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to another subject, but yeah, we kind of are. He needs to switch trainers. That's how he becomes a better fighter. But anyways, on Rolly.
Oh, that's controversial. That sounds so controversial. Like, because what you just said, you said that. Did you just say that Teofimo Lopez has to switch trainers?
I think so.
Even though theoretically, and almost by de facto, he is the first two-time undisputed fighter of all time.
Yeah.
With his dad in his corner.
Nah, I think it's how his mind works. He
Listen, we told everybody.
Oh, that shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's his psyche, man. Like how, like we get irritated by our parents. I mean, everyone did at one point, you know. And I feel like having a parent there around you, just that relationship. I look at it and it's like toxic. I mean, there's enough. Not like I'm there with them, but there's enough video out there to prove that he's going through some psychological shit that's induced by his dad. But he's, you know, that's his
or his wife.
I mean, that's his ex-wife now, no? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, dude. Yeah, sticky situation. I think he said he wants to fight for 100 mil. Tripping.
Yeah, well, you know what? God bless him if he's the type of fighter that if I could give him 100 mil, I'd help contribute to it at least, you know. So you got
hey guys, just a heads up. I'm about maybe 5-10 more minutes, all right?
You ain't gonna call no shots right here, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I think I have to take off right now, bro.
All right, last question. Okay, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. Who wins?
Well, wait. Well, 140?
140. 140.
I'll go first. I got Tio by unanimous, and Haney by nah. I'm not gonna say that. I could see a draw, you know, stylistically a draw. Fuck that. I'm going Haney by unanimous. Never mind.
Oh man, I don't know.
It depends how good Devin Haney looks against Regis.
Yeah.
If he looks dominant, then I got Devin. But if not, I think Tio would.
I think that's what
the logic would be Devin. Mm-hmm. Right, he's an outboxer. He uses a jab. He's got the angles, but I think
just depends, man.
See Tio Lopez, you know, fight the way he did against Josh Taylor, and in moments go on a blitz, and you know go on an offensive, you know, spurt against Devin, how he did against George Kambosos, but like a methodical Tio. then I got Tio winning like dominant fashion. Because that shoulder roll, he will be able to neutralize Devin's jab. And if he goes all like trying to go for broke, I got Teofimo's power. But again, it all is all predicated upon Devin Haney and how he looks against Rodriguez. And the reason I say how he looks against Rodriguez isn't so much about how he gets acclimated to fighting at a bigger weight class. No, it's actually quite the contrary. I'm interested to see if Devin's power, without having to cut the extra 5 or 6 pounds to get under 135, how it's gonna feel for him. And then once he be able to rehydrate, it's gonna be even better. So I think Devin right now losing all this weight, especially the water weight, he's losing now in that, filling up to his grown man strength, so to speak.
I could sometimes see. I could sometimes. Yeah, I could sometimes see, depending on what day it is, I see Devin Haney completely outboxing Teofimo Lopez, sort of like he did George Kambosos. If we see the Teofimo Lopez that fought George Kambosos get in the ring, but if we see the Teofimo Lopez who just fought Josh Taylor, I could see Josh Taylor knocking out Devin Haney. It's just that I see the one thing that I am very impressed with Haney is that Haney is the one fighter that I see the most development in all of boxing. One of the most quickly developing and just more confident fighters out there. What he did with George Kambosos, and especially against Lomachenko, even though again I believe he lost that fight. I think he may have, like Larry Lissa said, 5 at most, but for sure it's only 4. But the way that he fought, one of the most skilled and accomplished southpaws in all of boxing history, in my opinion. Having nary or very little experience fighting southpaws, looked excellent. In fact, that is the way you fight southpaws. It would be an orthodox fighter, except of course the pressure that Loma was bringing. But if we do see that guy learning so quickly on the job, so you put him up there against somebody that's much more basic than Lomachenko, like Teofimo Lopez, explosive, great counterpuncher, but is still much more basic, then I can see any scenario, including a clear dominant performance by Haney and or a knockout by Teofimo Lopez. It just depends on what day you ask me, because I believe these kids are capable of achieving every single thing out there, from the worst to the greatest thing out there. But yeah, they're incredible fighters. That's the fight I pay big money for right now. If that happens, I'm there.
Yep. No, I agree. I think it's gonna. I mean, it's a 50-50. It's a toss-up until it isn't, right? But yeah, man, it's gonna be. I don't know. It'll be a good fight. I know the future is bright. It just depends on, how the cards play out, and then who lays the chips all in. But
homie Ricky, let me just ask Mr. Larry Liston, because I know you want to end the live like in a minute or so. But Mr. Liston, do you see Devin Haney beating Progra? Because I do see him beating him, but I just don't know if he can, if I can as easily say that he can beat Teofimo Lopez. But I am almost sure that Regis would lose to Devin Haney. And what about you, homie Ricky? Who do you have winning on that fight?
I think Regis will make his adjustments. I know he looked kind of rocky against Daniel Sorria, but I think he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn some very interesting ways to cut off the ring against Devin. But I think he'll. Yeah, I got Devin by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I don't put too much I don't belittle Regis because of the Sorrilla fight. I just think most movers always think up to join, and I don't even think Regis should have to follow and chase after the guy who has no belt. So bad fight, bad fight. And besides, I don't think Devin Haney would move as much. I think Devin Haney would stick there in the pocket or with good punching range against a bigger foe because he is learning so well how to angle, how to jab and throw his juice on the southpaw. I think it's a great fight. I'm not trying to say that Regis is an easy picking because of the way he fought against Danielito Sorrilla, but I think the age it comes into play with the experience that Devin Haney has quickly attained with the level of fighters that he has most recently. I think that's what gives him the favorable odds. I just think that with Teofimo Lopez, anything could happen. That's why that's the next fight I want to see, the next biggest fight in my book that I can think of. And I can't think of anything else besides maybe David Benavidez and Canelo. Who knows? Maybe even more than that.
Yeah, those are some good fights right there. Yep, yep.
Regis is a good kid, likable character. He's a man's man. I don't think he curses. Doesn't say bad things about his fighters. Keeps his head. He keeps his head held high, but keeps outside of controversies. Great. That's a great fighter in my opinion. A great man and a great fighter. I still have Haney beating him because he's a great kid, uh, a good fighter, very skilled, and very disciplined. Very disciplined.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
like.
Regis can crack. Regis can definitely crack.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be tough. It'll be really good. But I got Devin Haney. Like, I think he'll pitch a shutout. I think he's longer. He's much more talented than Daniel Sorrilla, and got better legs. And again, he's gonna sit there at times, throw his flurries, use his speed, and then we know he can circle and run better than Sorrilla. So Rodriguez, he's got to make a lot of improvements. He's got to develop. He's slow, and his feet are even slower. He's got that pop, but he's got even short arm length. So it's not like, you know, 6'2", and then he's got the Deontay Wilder long arms. No, he's short. Yeah, I don't even think he's gonna even be able to touch Devin. It'll be just a masterful performance. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, that's what I see sometimes. I see Devin Haney doing those kind of things against those, and then again, we haven't really seen him at 140. So maybe we're just
He'll be faster
speculating.
and stronger. That's just the way I look at it. He's gonna be faster and stronger.
But can he take a punch from those bigger guys? Like
Yeah, he
remember,
can. That's
he
I mean
could.
that's who he's sparring. Like, Devin's a consummate pro. Like, he has access to a lot of fighters, especially that he lives in Las Vegas. They're all there, so he has access to everybody. Devin will be all right.
That was a strategic move from Mr. Bill, huh? That move right there to take him to Henderson.
Yeah, no, that was. Yeah, no, Bill, they got a great team. I mean, they learned under and studied Floyd, have access to Floyd, talk to Floyd on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and they were there from the ground up. So yeah, man, they were schooled by the best in terms of the politics of the game, the sanctioning bodies, promoting fees, the underlining money that gets hidden by the networks. Yeah, they know it all, and that's a good brain to pick apart, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's gonna be it, man. Have a good night. If we do go live tomorrow, we'll probably be talking about Teofimo Lopez, and the amazing run and career that he's had. Yeah, I think maybe Tio would be pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys have any topics you guys want to talk about. Maybe diuretics and drugs and snack. We can do some research on that. Maybe Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, who the better promoter is between Eddie and Oscar De La Hoya.
Hmm.
Uh, Bud Crawford. It don't really matter. But yeah. Let me know what you guys have in mind, and we'll just pick it up from there.
Well,
Have a good
Mr.
night, Mr.
Yeah,
Larry Liston. Have a good night, Warp. And I'll see you guys till next one.
yeah, Key Boomerang, Yimmy, Larry Liston, Drew, the homie Ricky. Good night. Have a wonderful day. Godspeed.